Okay, I think we're back. The live stream software was facing some issues. Um, Hopefully, we're back here. Should be back live. So I apologize there. We had some technical issues. The streaming software needed to be restarted. So I apologize for that issue. So again, I apologize for the issues there, just some technical issues with the streaming software. But what we're looking at is we have this. I don't know how much of all of that you got um, before everything started causing some issues. Um, okay, so I'm watching information here. So this is a particularly dangerous situation in Tarrant County. Looks like maybe they have released that here. Okay, so they've removed the particularly dangerous situation tag from this warning. The scary part about this storm is that it's been cyclical. So it has been intensifying and then weakening and then intensifying and then weakening. And before you start naming towns, let me get through the introduction first. Let me get through the situation, and then we can talk about individual towns. There's a lot to cover here, folks. Please be patient with me. So this storm that is moving into Tarrant County now, it produced um, at least two tornadoes that I've watched just in the past 30-45 minutes. So this storm, again, you can see, I mean, this thing has been ongoing since Wichita Falls, and you can kind of see its track here with these flash flood warnings. And so it progressed through, areas to our northwest through Jack County and on through, Wise County. And when it reached the Bridgeport area, it slowed down almost to a halt and started to drift eastward. And then not long after that, it wrapped up again and dove almost due south into Parker County and now is moving southeastward through Tarrant County. What I want to show you is that this storm has had a pretty serious couplet with it. Now, the rotation is looking. We'll talk about the cap in just a moment, folks, but the circulation is looking less intense here. But the concern is that this storm has been in the habit of weakening and then intensifying, and then weakening and intensifying. And as soon as it starts to weaken, it starts to intensify again. And I mean, we have new storms popping up now up in Wise County and Denton County. So this has been a very serious situation. I mean, we're already, if you look west of White Settlement, I mean, we could be looking at a new hook here. We could be looking at a new circulation trying to develop. And so there's a number of different possibilities here. There's a number of different variables. I know a lot of people are wondering about the cap. What is the cap doing? What's it looking like? The cap is still here. This storm doesn't seem to care. This storm has basically been running its own show for quite some time now. It has moved into a less volatile environment here, but the thing is, there's still unstable air. There's still plenty of humidity here. There's plenty of storm food to be had. So this storm, very intense here, and even the severe thunderstorm warning is rated for lime-sized hail, 2-inch hail, and 70 mile per hour winds. So even if we take the persistent on and off circulation out of the equation here, we still have a very intense storm. I mean, if we look at the hail core here, I mean, plenty of hail. Let me smooth that out just a little bit here. Plenty of hail in this storm as well. So this has been the concern with this storm. Every time it weakens, it stays that way for a while, and then it wraps up again. We've been watching this storm for hours now, and it has continued on. And I know I'm going to, trust me, folks, I'm going to get to when is it going to get where in just a minute. But it's hard to say because the track on this storm has been so erratic. Every time it slows down and starts to drift eastward, it wraps up again and then dives south again. So it is very tough to tell you what is the ETA in any town USA, because it's just the track has been so erratic. I see the questions about Arlington. I see those coming in over and over again. Uh, Trust me, if I could tell you exactly where this thing is going to go, I would. At the moment here, for the Arlington area, the rotation doesn't appear to be headed towards the Arlington area. It looks like you're going to get more of the rain, possibly some hail from this. But, I would say in Arlington in the next 20, 30 minutes, maybe. But I mean, if it takes another turn due south, then Arlington would see less of this. That's the problem. It has been very erratic in its movement. And so it's just, there's just no clear, easy way to tell you it's going to be here at this time, here at this time, here at this time. What I will tell you is that Fort Worth, Benbrook areas should be in shelter right now. If you're in White Settlement, Fort Worth, Benbrook, I would even say, any of these near the Fort Worth airport, any of these, at 820 and 199. I mean, any of these communities, if you're in this warning, you need to be taking shelter. Brittany, I see your comment about friends at Billy Bob's. They should be taking shelter. And folks, I know you have persistent questions, but please don't spam the chat, because there's going to be a lot of information and questions I need to see here. So please be be patient and courteous here. I know that everybody's got a question, so I'm going to try to do my best. But this chat goes at wildfire, so help me out and please be patient with me. I'm one guy, right? So this is the storm we're looking at. Okay, so trying to follow some updates here. There's a lot coming in about this storm. So let's put this into motion again, and you can see that for the moment, it's moving southeast. But again, this thing has, in fact, if we back this up a little bit, I want to show you the kind of the track on this. So this is essentially where we were earlier with the live stream. And you can see how it was, let me zoom in a little bit. You can see how it was drifting eastward, but then it starts to wrap up. You see that hook echo wrapping up, and then look at it just dive due south. Look at that. It dives due south, and then now it's on more of that southeasterly track. But we could easily be looking at more rotation here with this one, more hail. The circulation is not as dramatic with this storm at this time. That circulation appears to have kind of gotten cut off, but that doesn't mean that, there may not be more going forward from there. So that's the reason that even though there may not be rotation at the moment, that tornado warning stays in place, because this has been so erratic. And again, it's hard to say when it's going to get where, because the track on this storm has changed several times. I can tell you that if you're in the Benbrook area in Fort Worth, I would say yes. In Arlington, North Richland Hills, Euless, Bedford, all these areas need to, Forest Hill too. If you're in Tarrant County, if you're in the southern half and the southern half and the western half of Tarrant County, you need to be very careful about this storm. Shelter if you can, but this is a very volatile and very hard to predict storm as well. because it has continued to weaken and strengthen and weaken and strengthen, and the cycle has gone on and on and on. Daisy, you're asking about Mansfield and Arlington off 360. Just be prepared for this storm. If you're in Tarrant County right now, you should be sheltering from this storm right now. That's the good news about this one is I don't see a immediate tornado related concern here, but it does look like this storm is going to continue on. I mean, it doesn't look like it's going to slow down anytime soon, and it could very well begin to rotate again at any time. This one, it intensifies very, very quickly. Okay, so it sounds like a new tornado watch is going to be issued. I do not know. This is from the Storm Prediction Center. A mature supercell with a history of tornadoes and hail up to baseball size continues to track southeast near the Fort Worth area. This supercell will likely continue. Let me move this over here. Will likely continue given the favorable, very unstable and highly sheared environment across central and eastern Texas. Blah 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 blah. The threat for large large to very large hail and tornadoes will continue with this storm. A new watch is likely to needed to replace portions of, yeah, because that existing tornado watch only has about 30 minutes left. So a new tornado watch will likely be issued. The tornado warning has been canceled. A new watch is likely to be issued with this one, and that will likely include, I would say, parts, if not all, of our area. I should be getting a map soon on that discussion. Eric, thank you so much for your Cash App. Greatly appreciated. Very hard to say about Ennis. Way too early. Hard to say really about any part of Ellis County. It's hard to say exactly where this is going to go. Because especially as it gets farther south, that track could change very quickly. Yeah, I have to thank my wife. I'm already drinking the coffee here. She asked me earlier, "Are you sure you want coffee?" Absolutely. This is a coffee kind of storm. So, and I don't have a whole lot to do tomorrow, which is great. Hopefully, we don't have a replay of this tomorrow. More storms are possible, but hopefully the cap will keep things under control here. I don't, and again, it's very hard to say exactly when or where it's going to be at any point, because the track of this storm has been very tough to keep up with. Um, as I showed you earlier, I mean, it in Wise County, it had slowed almost to a halt and was drifting eastward, and then it started to rotate again and move, and it dove almost due south. So this has been a very erratic storm. Thank you, Christine, for the Venmo. Greatly appreciated. Kevin, this storm does have a history of producing tornadoes, so we are monitoring that. Yeah, this is definitely a storm that is hard to peg as far as a track or an ETA. The only areas that I would really say are guaranteed to get parts of this storm. Arlington, Mansfield, Burleson, those areas. I mean, that's, Forest Hill, Everman, Crowley. So, I mean, southern Tarrant County, southern and eastern Tarrant County, pretty likely to get parts of this storm. It's hard to say too much, though, because, again, this storm has intensified so quickly. It's changed its course very quickly, that kind of thing. So again, the farther away you are from this storm, the harder it is to comment on a. Hang on, sorry guys, I'm getting a lot of text messages and different things. So let's take a look at the velocity here. Look at what the winds are doing. We were looking at this couplet here near Azle, and that kind of fell apart. But it's still it's still a strong storm, still a generally rotating storm. I see maybe some broad rotation there, but I'm not seeing anything too concerning at this moment. But I can tell that we are looking at a storm that has had a history of weakening like we see now, and then rotating and intensifying right back. And so that is why the National Weather Service and the Storm Prediction Center are looking at issuing a new watch. And that new watch will likely include most of, if not all of our area. I'm seeing the discussion now. Let's get that pulled up here. Try to get all of the extra ones off. Okay, let's see if we can get... Okay, I need 541. Okay, so this is the area that has been highlighted. This circle here. This is the area highlighted by the mesoscale convective discussion. Lee Haig, thank you so much for the Venmo. So this is the area they're looking at for a tornado watch. For our area, that does include most of us. So I think that all 4 counties are likely to be included in a new tornado watch for this storm. And just a word about sirens, because I know that's going to come up a lot. It already has, but here's the thing. The sirens are not always just for tornadoes. I think there are some municipalities, Ennis being one of them, where those sirens are for just specifically tornadoes. But most municipalities have moved past that. They go with the North Central Texas Council of Governments guidance, which tells them, sound those for large hail, damaging winds, that kind of thing. Hail and winds over a certain intensity, because they're for outdoors, and so if it's something that could cause damage outdoors, that's what they're going to sound those for. Victoria, thank you so much for the Cash App, greatly appreciated there. And here's the thing: I know a lot of folks are saying, "Hey, do I need to end this event? Do I need to do this, do that?" It's going to be very hard to say, because I don't want to tell you to cancel something if the storm's never going to get there, right? But it's just hard to say exactly what to expect from this storm with the erratic movement that it has been exhibiting tonight. So we'll put this back into motion. It's currently moving southeastward at this moment. And it may look like it's weakening. Mary, thank you so much for the Venmo. Greatly appreciated there. It may look like it's weakening at this point, but you can't take that to the bank, and you can't rely on that because it is very likely to intensify once again. We have seen that so many times already. And there goes, and Terry's out. Terry, I'm looking at the ring camera right now. Terry's out front. I can see all the lightning just in our area. New tornado watch issued. Let me see. This is going to include, yep. well, Ellis, Johnson, and Navarro counties included in that watch. So that watch, it runs until 5 a.m., folks. New tornado watch issued, including including Ellis, Johnson, and Navarro counties. That runs until 5 a.m. So new tornado watch. I'm going to mention here, you want to get signed up for Weather Call. This is a situation where we have a very dangerous system, a very dangerous storm headed our way. You want to make sure you have multiple ways of getting warnings. There's a reason that Weather Call has trademarked the term, or the phrase rather, layers save lives. Layers save lives. And the reason they say that is because multiple ways of producing those are getting those warnings rather, are very, very important. So I'm going to post the link. I'm going to post the link to Weather Call. I highly recommend. In the first quarter of this year, the first 4 months of this year, we had a 90% retention rate. That's people renewing their service. Or 97 actually, 97% retention rate with Weather Call. 97% of people renewed their Weather Call, which is great. So yes, we have that new tornado watch that includes Ellis, Johnson, and Navarro counties that runs until 5 a.m. We look at the velocity here. This is still a very volatile storm. I don't see any developing circulations at this moment, but winds are picking up. So I wouldn't be surprised if we very soon see this storm trying to wrap up again. There you go. Jamie Lawhead, Weather Call is the best, very much needed, especially for spring. Thank you so much for the feedback on that. And thank you to Keith for the Venmo. Thank you, Tanya, for the Cash App. All of that is greatly appreciated. So that watch, if we, oh man. Okay, here we go. So this storm is starting to intensify once again. You see that hail core just west of White Settlement. So that storm is ramping up once again. I'm going to bring up just quickly that tornado watch so that we can show that on the air. So you see the old watch and the new one, but what's important is that Johnson, Ellis, and Navarro counties are included in this new watch. That watch goes until 5 a.m. So this is the new tornado watch. The old watch will expire at 11 o'clock, about 15 minutes from now. And then the new watch runs until 5 a.m. So let me clean that off the screen here. If I could click the right button, that'd be great. I also want to show, we are getting plenty of thunder here at the studio. Just look how far out from the storm the lightning is. That's all little lightning strikes. Look how far out. Midlothian, Glen Heights. In fact, we can look at the Glen Heights cyclone port. The city of Glen Heights cyclone port here. And we'll see all the lightning in this storm. This is just incredible. I mean, you can see that, this is in Glen Heights, and there are lightning strikes that are behind this camera. Thank you, Christine, for the Cash App. Greatly appreciated. And thank you, Kayla, for the Venmo. Greatly appreciated there. So this is what we're looking at. This is looking from Glen Heights. This is the city of Glen Heights camera here. The old tornado watch has been canceled. The new watch is in effect. Again, that watch includes Ellis, Johnson, and Navarro counties until 5 a.m. So, good question. The Weather Call system will give you a text message and or an email for watches. Sometimes those run a little later than the warnings do. But the warnings definitely run quicker. But the good news that, if it is a warning, it's obviously more... okay, new severe thunderstorm warning coming up here shortly. Okay, this is going to be the new severe thunderstorm warning. This is downstream. Brianna, thank you so much for the Venmo there. This is a okay. So this is a warning. This new severe thunderstorm warning for tennis ball sized hail, 70-mile-per-hour winds. This is a considerable damage threat for this storm. Okay, just got the email here for. Okay, this is what it's going to look like. I'm just going to show you this very quickly. You were asking about. This is what that email looks like. Okay, so that's what that's going to show. So you get an email and you get a text message as well that shows you that warning, or that watch rather. Warnings: you get a phone call, a watch, you get a text message, and an email. And I'm gonna start losing track here of the Cash App and Venmo. So if I don't say thank you, I apologize. But thank you, Alejandro and Jeremy. As this gets crazier, I may start losing track of that. But we have a new circulation building now west of Fort Worth. We can see a wall cloud, or not a wall cloud. Nothing's been reported in that regard, but we can see the hook, and I see the increasing winds along with it. So I think we might be looking at that just north of Benbrook. We might be seeing rotation trying to form there. So we'll put this back into motion here. This is the storm we're watching, and it is intensifying again. Mostly a hail threat at this moment. Hail and strong winds. I would not be surprised to see a concern with rotation with this very soon. Mike, so if you got an email and not a text, or a text and not an email for the watches, you can customize all of that in your Weather Call dashboard. So you can customize all of that in that platform. So somebody in the Facebook chat, now a tornado watch till 5 a.m. Sunday. Where did that come from? Well, that came from this storm that is now moving into this area. The old tornado watch was set to expire at 11 p.m., but they needed more time to warn for this very intense storm, this very erratic storm. So that's what needs to be paid attention to here. So that is the tornado watch that is now in effect for really much of the Metroplex, and then for our area, Johnson, Ellis, and Navarro counties. Hill County is not included in that watch. Johnson, Ellis, and Navarro counties are included in that watch. And that is until 5 a.m. And as I've said tonight, it's very hard to say exactly where this storm will go because it has been so erratic. There have been times, when it was in Wise County, it slowed to a halt and started drifting eastward, and then it wrapped up again and it dove due south into Parker County. So it's been very hard to know the trajectory and the ETA, the estimated arrival of these storms. So it's been giving you a time and location of arrival. Very difficult to do. Very difficult to do tonight. Just with the nature of this storm. All right, hold on.
The National Weather Service has issued a tornado watch for your monitored area.
Okay.
Check your email immediately for further information concerning this watch, and be prepared for the possible issuance of upcoming warnings to be issued by the National Weather Service. If you'd like to hear this message again.
All right, so there is a call for the tornado watch. So there we go with that. So that phone call. Okay. Yeah. So normally, that phone call was for the watch. So that is letting you know, hey, you've got a tornado watch for your area. So in addition to the email and the text, you'll get that phone call. And I believe that phone call might have actually been for. We have, just briefly, because I know we have some business owners, there is weather call for business as well. And that is, there are a couple of folks that have signed up with that here in our area. And that has proven to be a very valuable resource. It speeds up your preparation process. It speeds up your emergency plan. And it makes sure that you know that, hey, I don't have to wait to find out that there's a warning or a watch somewhere. I can put that emergency plan for my business and my employees in place. So that is, I think that's part of that. So yeah, just to cover, I see a few of the questions. Um, the difference. Remember the difference between a watch and a warning. And we'll just for the sake of the illustration, we'll bring this up. Give me one moment here. Let's see. I think it's under a different folder. I just want to bring this up because we got people asking, and I've been told multiple times that this is the best illustration that a lot of people have seen. But if you need to know the difference between a watch and a warning, I have been told by multiple people that this example is actually very, very good. This is probably the picture you've seen circulated quite a bit, and this is, yeah. I see the folks in the comments referencing this already, but this is the difference. And it's a tornado watch means that you have the ingredients in place for that particular kind of weather during that particular period of time. In this situation, this tornado watch means that the conditions are right for a storm like this one that does have a history of producing tornadoes. It could produce a tornado at any time. Then we talk about a tornado warning. That means that either a tornado has been spotted or indicated by radar, or significant rotation with the capability of producing a tornado at any moment has been indicated by radar. So that's what we're looking at. So that is the difference, folks. And in case you saw this and didn't know, yes, that is me. Unfortunately, up there, I look like all I did was eat all the tacos, but that is me in that example. The brief story on this, and we'll get back to it, but I did not create that graphic. A lot of people credit me with that. That was actually shared by the National Weather Service over in Albuquerque, and I included it in the presentation I do for kids in schools because I thought it would be a fun way to explain it. A teacher in Red Oak took this picture, and she posted it on social media, or I believe I did, and it went viral from there. I've seen this in science pages around the world, actually, crazy enough. So if you need to know the difference, there it is. My word. The thunder out here, guys. And we are nowhere near this storm here at the studio. So here's the storm we're watching. And I know it's been moving relatively slowly. Mary, yeah. So there have not been warnings yet. So you've received the texts and emails for watches, and that's all that we've had for now. We've not had any tornado warnings issued in this area. Hunter, I would not say that you're clear at Texas Motor Speedway. You may still have, I wouldn't say you're under any kind of circulation there, but you may have some strong winds and hail headed towards your area. And I apologize if I missed some comments here, but uh, it's going to be hard to catch now. We have over 2,300 viewers right now across platforms, so it's going to be easy to miss a few things. And again, if you don't get an email and a text, that means that in your settings you just have one selected or the other. You can control all of that. Here's the velocity. We're definitely looking at strong winds with this storm, but I will say that I don't see any kind of rotation at this moment. However, you can see how we're kind of, this is curve shaped, and we have those inbound winds here. So really all it's going to take is we have the winds here. All it's going to take is for some of that inflow to pick up pace. So we may be watching that start to circulate again very soon. And that is over the Benbrook area. Like I say, if you got an email and not a text, or a text and not an email, with Weather Call, all of that is customizable in your dashboard. So you can customize all of that. And thank you for the folks who are signing up for Weather Call. I love it. Evan Andrews was saying a lot of meteorologists in the chat are baffled at why they created a new watch and they shouldn't have. Well, Evan and Evan is a good friend of mine. I respect him, and I think honestly the reason that a watch was issued, I'm not convinced, nor do I think they are, that this storm is done. I think they're trying to be careful here because this particular storm could still ramp up. We have seen a number of we have seen this storm a number of times weaken and then re-intensify, and so we can't count this storm suddenly done. So I think that's why they issued that watch, because this storm just does not look like it's finished. And there's really no way to know for sure, because the number of times we thought this storm was finished, it has ramped up again. So I really don't. I think that Evan needs to give the National Weather Service a little bit of space here, just because of how erratic and crazy that. Now, Evan may understand it, but he's saying that other people are saying that. I'm trying to understand that comment, but I guess he's saying maybe that other people said that. So if that's the case, surely Evan understands too. That this storm has been so erratic that they have to put the watch in place. Because this storm simply is just not reliable one way or the other. And yes, there's going to be plenty of sirens going off for this storm. Again, like I said, we're looking at tennis ball size hail and 70 mile per hour winds possible with this. So we'll take another look at the Glen Heights Cyclone Port camera here. And again, this is going to show, I don't know, that must have been a bug or something flying across, but this is going to show all of the lightning in this storm. And just as a reminder, that tornado watch does include Johnson, Ellis, and Hill County. I'm going to keep making that mistake because I keep seeing Hill County coming up in the chat. It's Johnson, Ellis, and Navarro counties are included in the tornado watch until 5 a.m. Hill County is not included in the watch at this time. So just to illustrate this again, this is what we're looking at with this storm. It is in Tarrant County right now, headed for really northern Johnson County. And again, trying to figure out a track is tough because this storm has the number of times that it kind of drifted eastward and then it moved due south again, and it has been changing its course quite a bit throughout the evening. No, I don't think that was ball lightning. Brian, you're asking about the other storms popping up. Those are not anywhere near our area and likely to stay north. Those are not moving towards our direction, so those really aren't much of a concern. This storm is easily a greater concern than anything else. We'll take another look at velocity. And, there may still be some broad rotation with this. Not seeing anything that has me immediately concerned, but it's definitely still worth watching here. I am not convinced that this storm is done, not by any means. I think we're going to have to give this one some time before we declare it done, because this is, as the National Weather Service said, it's still moving into a very unstable atmosphere. This storm has a history of cycling up and down. So if it's weakening, it could very easily intensify once again. The cap is there, but that hasn't stopped it yet. Leia, I'll be staying on live until this is over. It's really hard to give any kind of times right now, because it's moving fairly slowly, but it could very quickly turn, change direction and speed up. So it's very hard to tell you it's going to be here or here at any given time. This warning has it moving at 20 miles per hour, but it picked up speed quite a bit earlier. And I know a lot of people are confused about the cap. The thing is, this storm is holding intensity. It's almost self-driven at this point. This storm is picking up on so much. Here's the thing about the cap is it can stop storm development, but once you have a storm of this intensity, and especially if it has enough instability to keep feeding it, a storm like this can impact the cap and can essentially overcome any of those weaknesses in it. So the cap is almost irrelevant at this point, because this storm is able to continue feeding on this instability and this shear and keep going. Now, this storm probably could not have developed in this area, in this environment, but this storm developed over Wichita Falls, and so it intensified there where the cap was weaker, and then moved through, and now it's able to just kind of just trudge through and overcome, because it is driven by some of these very very fruitful dynamics when it comes to the storm itself. And thank you so much for all of the Cash App and Venmos. I know I'm not able to keep up with names right now. I apologize, but I do continue to see those coming through. Looks like Jana, Taylor, Ross, Dana, Jason, and Linda. I think that's all the names. I think I'm caught up there. Again, greatly appreciate that. And I appreciate all of the weather call purchases as well. That assures me that more and more people are going to be informed on these storms, and that supports the brand as well. So we'll put this into motion here, and this storm has definitely slowed down. And I would tell you that it's going to stay that way, but this is exactly what it did in Wise County before it wrapped up again and picked up the pace moving southward. So we're kind of in a waiting period here, just a little bit, trying to figure out exactly what this thing is going to do. So it's very hard to tell you what the storm is going to do. Let me go back. Let me just show you again kind of the history on this storm. Go way back here. So this storm in the Bridgeport area, that's where we had the tornado. That's when we had one of the tornadoes southwest of Bridgeport, and it kind of slowed down. You see here how it slowed down, and it was tracking eastward, and then right here, it wrapped up again. And look at it. Look at the way it just dives southward. Okay. And I mean, it's just riding 199 at that point. And and now it's slowed down and is kind of tracking eastward again. But That's the thing. This storm has done this more than once. It weakens, slows down, takes a beat, and then it just intensifies again. So there's just too much instability right now to say one way or the other. Right now, the only areas, let me reduce that frame rate there. Right now, the only areas that I would be concerned about as far as where the storm is going, certainly in the Benbrook, in the Benbrook area, you're getting it now. Burleson, Everman, Forest Hill, Crowley, Mansfield, possibly Arlington too. Those areas are kind of under the gun for this storm. Looks like Benbrook golf ball size hail reported there. Quarter size hail reported there a short time ago. Half dollar size hail in Westover Hills. So definitely still hail in this storm. But when I look at and here we have a flash flood warning as well. See, that's the thing, as this storm slows down, we shift over to a hail concern. So that's going to be the problem with this storm. Now, I have noticed, as some of you are mentioning, that the lightning has calmed down a little bit. But again, that could be a sign that this storm is temporarily starting to cycle down, but could cycle up again. If we look at the velocity here, there are winds that are increasing with this storm, and that's probably some downburst winds, but it's just we can't count it out yet. I'm just not ready to count this one out yet. I don't think it's done. And it's going to continue to move at this rate slowly southeastward. And that's why we have that flash flood warning in place there in Tarrant County. But yes, we've had a steep reduction in the lightning and thunder in Ellis County, at least. So ahead of the storm, it does seem to be in a lower part of the cycle here. But let me remind you again, we have seen it do this before. So we're gonna hang tight here. Let me take a look at some messages that are coming in. Let me take a moment here just to kind of trying to pick up on some information. I don't know. Is Evan still live? Is he still covering this? Okay. I think Evan is off the air at this point. So this storm has continued to show a history of cycling. It'll cycle up and cycle down. I'm going to take the lightning off of this because it's making it hard to even see. Okay, take the lightning off so we can see this storm. It has shown a history of weakening and then intensifying and then weakening and intensifying. And so what we're looking at right now, it does appear to be in a weakening state. The hail has cycled up a few times, but I'm not seeing new rotation yet. Now, this storm, it's very possible that this storm is now moving into a stronger cap. So that could be limiting its intensity here. But by contrast of that, we could be looking at this storm. It could recycle, could intensify at any moment. So that's kind of what we're looking at. It's just not. I'm not ready to give up on this one yet. So, I mean, we see this little tail on it. Um, I haven't seen. I I still don't see anything that has me too concerned about rotation. One of the things that bothers me, though, and it's unavoidable, but we are getting into a point where we're really close to the radar, which that can be good because you get a very good look at the base of the storm. But it does make it harder to see sometimes because the radar is looking up. It's not looking directly up. It's looking up at an angle, and so that can be a potential issue. It can be a hindrance to kind of seeing everything. So this storm, I am not ready to give up on this one yet. We do not have any tornado warnings in place at this time. The tornado watch is in effect until 5 a.m. That includes the Metroplex. It includes Johnson, Ellis, and Navarro counties. Again, that is until 5 a.m. This storm has been intensifying and then weakening and then intensifying and then weakening. It's been going back and forth. Um, but it's just been a constant um, weaken and then recycle and then weaken and then recycle process. So it's been almost impossible to, number one, say where is it going to be when, because the track has changed several times, and then on top of that, um, it has slowed down and then sped up and then slowed down and then sped up. Very erratic storm. This storm is essentially making its own. Um, it's making its own atmosphere, its own environment, as Evan put it earlier. And so this is a very volatile storm that has been full of surprises up to this point. Now, if we look at the vertically integrated liquid, it shows that the hail core might be a little less organized at this point. It's a little choppy with the frames there getting into Tarrant County, but it's still there. Hail is still a concern with this storm. So looks like they've brought the wind concern down to 60 miles per hour and the golf ball size, the hail down to golf ball size as far as what they're warning for in this storm. So that's some good news that at this point um, it is in a weakening trend. But like I've been saying all evening, this is not a storm where you can trust that. I mean, this storm could very quickly and very easily intensify. That's what it did in Wise County, south of Bridgeport. It just all of a sudden almost started to wrap up again and dove due south. So we'll continue to monitor this storm. I'm actually going to pull up uh, Radar Omega on a different screen so that I can monitor this one on velocity. Natalie, I'm going to be on until this is over. I do not have a hard stop. You guys have me as long as this is a thing. So I'll be covering this until the watch ends at 5 a.m. if I have to. And to all the folks that are saying coffee, I trust me, I've been I've been drinking plenty of it. As you can see, it's starting to move eastward again, which is what it did back in the Bridgeport area before it wrapped up and started moving south again. So let's see. Trying to catch up to some comments here. Uh, I see all the all caps comments about Waxahachie. like, like, relax, folks. I trust me. I will cover this. But again, it's been very hard to talk about the track of this storm because of the many times that it has changed course, sped up, slowed down. Right now, the storm is largely stationary over Tarrant County. I would say right now the greatest risk right now is really looking at the flash flood warning that was issued some time ago. It still has about another 3 hours to it. Uh, but that flash flood warning for really the western 2/3 of Tarrant County, and then that severe thunderstorm warning is still in place. We do not have a tornado warning at this time. Tornado watch that includes Johnson, Ellis, and Navarro counties runs until 5 a.m. But no tornado warnings at this time. I've not seen too much detail in terms of of rotation. Though the area that could possibly where we're seeing this little hook here is almost too close to the radar, so it's kind of hard to see. But nothing about this storm looks terribly intense at this moment. The problem is, and I feel like a broken record because I've said this many times, but the problem is that this storm has been it has demonstrated a pretty consistent history of intensifying and then weakening and then intensifying and then weakening. So it keeps going back and forth here, so that we really have a hard time being able to say one way or the other exactly what to expect from it. Shalom, we don't know the intensity of any tornadoes. It will be tomorrow or later before we know. The National Weather Service is going to have to go out and survey that. Brent Johnson, we need more weather balloons. I don't know what a weather balloon could have changed in this scenario, to be honest with you. The Fort Worth office launches balloons pretty consistently. So I don't know that an additional weather balloon would have changed anything here. Texarkana is pretty far out of our area, so I'm really not sure what to discuss there. I got to stay focused on my coverage area. So yeah, the thunder has definitely subsided. The storm itself is weakening at this point, but it's just not something I can trust at this point. Now we have seen a fairly consistent weakening trend here, so my hope is that it will continue to be affected by the cap here and by that limitation on storm development. But it's really hard to say. Victoria, that's what I'm saying is, and that's been my point this whole time, is that the history of this thing has shown that it will weaken but then re-intensify. And so it is weakening right now, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to stay that way. So that's why we have to keep an eye on this. Shalom, just like every other situation, yes, you'll get a phone call if the warning is issued. Weather call still works the same. What's feeding the storm's energy? I mean, it's the instability in the air. It's the instability in the shear. We've got plenty of that. I mean, we've got plenty of humid air, unstable air. I mean, there's plenty of that here. It's just what was questionable about the forecast was the strength of the cap. What wasn't as clear a situation was that a storm from Wichita Falls was going to continue for several hours and track all the way into Fort Worth. So that was really what was less sort of certain here. And I have to thank my wife for bringing a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in. That is greatly appreciated. And Michelle said, "Ain't nothing like a good storm in this page to see all my friends." That's that's the thing. I've heard that from a lot of folks. Um, that they get into. It's funny. I'll see in the chat there will be a conversation between friends, and I can't tell. Jan, you'll get a 30-day email notice to renew weather call. They'll tell you, "Hey, we're going to renew this in 30 days," and that'll be that. And then it'll automatically renew at that period of time. So just to show you, this storm continues on, and it has continued for several hours here. It does appear to be in a weakening trend, but we can't count on that because we've seen this storm weaken and then intensify several times. So Matt Rachel Patterson, the explainer on the cap, I will post that tomorrow. I don't want to necessarily get into that right now, but yeah, I will get into that. I'll post that again tomorrow, and we'll get that information up there. So the jelly is grape here, I believe. Renaissance Fair was great. Great day at the fair. Really enjoyed the time with friends out there. Angela, I have the patience of a saint. I've been told that many times about many different situations, actually. Jessica Martin, it's a big question of whether Waxahachie is going to get this or not. That's it's hard to say. Right now, this storm is fairly stationary over Tarrant County, but we just have to monitor in case this thing decides to wrap up again and intensify and pick up speed again, as it has several times already. So that's kind of where we're at. We're um, kind of in a waiting period here because this storm has it's gone back and forth. Um, it has picked up strength and weakened. It's just done all kinds of stuff. Thank you, Stephen, for the Cash App. Greatly appreciated. Yeah, it's impossible to know if Chris. It's impossible to know if Eureka's going to get this. It's very unsure right now. Thank you, Julie, for the Cash App. Greatly appreciated. Um, okay, so yeah, they continue to sort of downgrade this storm. Well, it's about the same here. 60-mile-per-hour wind threat and golf ball size hail. So still very much a severe thunderstorm, but it is cycling down at this point. Whether or not it's going to stay that way is another issue. So there are no tornado warnings right now. The tornado threat with this storm has waned. It has weakened, if you will. I had someone the other day say that they didn't know what waned meant. But I guess I'm old fashioned because I say that quite a bit. But right now the storm is not exhibiting an immediate tornado threat. It's right in the vicinity of the radar too, though, which kind of makes it a little hard to see. But at the moment, I'm not seeing an immediate tornado threat with this. But the tornado watch, that new tornado watch that was issued to extend beyond that 11 o'clock deadline of the original watch, that new one goes until 5 a.m. Now, whether or not they keep it is going to largely depend on whether this storm continues to weaken or it intensifies again, because we've seen that back and forth trend all evening on this storm. Dylan, you're trying to track down a hook in this storm. I don't see one right now. So I'm not terribly concerned about rotation in this storm at this time. Benjamin, I'm not quite sure what Arlington will see yet. We got a new severe thunderstorm warning. Looks like that's going to be for the northern part of this storm. We have winds that are increasing on the northern side of this storm. So it looks like that's where the new warning has been issued. Okay, yeah. So National Weather Service issuing a new warning here, just kind of on top of the existing one. This is going to be North Richland Hills, the north side of the airport, 35 and 820 intersection there over towards Bedford, Watauga, that area. So North Fort Worth and over to the NRH area. So that's where that new warning is going to be issued. So this storm is largely stationary over Tarrant County right now. And it does appear to be in a weakening trend. But as I've mentioned several times, this is one of those storms where it's really hard to say, hey, we're done, it's over, because we have seen it happen many times before. Already this evening, where we think it's weakening, we think it's done, and then it wraps up again and intensifies. There's still plenty of unstable air to feed this thing. So really, whether it has enough enough unstable air is what I'll say, and enough humidity and that kind of thing to continue feeding it against the cap, or if the cap is strong enough to shut it down. That's kind of what we're watching, and we're kind of in a waiting period right now because it's really hard to tell. Yeah, straight line winds, still a possibility with this one. Folks asking for the link to Weather Call. There is that link again. Now we are seeing some outflow winds moving. You can just kind of barely see those moving through the area. Now, the last time it produced one of those, we thought, oh, that must be the downward motion of the storm getting the sinking air, and then it wrapped up again. So again, none of the signs that we normally see. None of the signs that we see um, normally see from a weakening storm have made any difference here. So, I'm just very cautious to call this thing done. Yeah, definitely. Wise County got hit really hard with this storm. Wise County and northern Parker County too. So that's yeah, definitely be praying for those folks. Um, we don't have any tornado warnings right now. Now we have this new storm over Reno, north of Azle. That could be bringing some small hail. So right now we're kind of in a quiet period. You've probably noticed the lightning and thunder has dropped considerably. It is not near as raucous as it was. But we have to uh, continue to monitor this as we go forward. Um, Brandy, yes, we have it. We've seen at least two tornadoes from this storm farther to the northwest. This little storm here, just north of Azle, has its own severe thunderstorm warning now. That one probably moving due east here. And that's the trend now. We see the storm now that it is weakened is moving due east, but we've seen this pattern before. This is exactly what it did in Wise County before it wrapped up again and moved due south. So that's why I'm very cautious here, because if we see that trend again, if it decides to wrap up again and move due south, that moves directly into our area. So that's why we still have that tornado watch in place, because this storm could change on a dime. So just to kind of keep everybody updated, if there's anybody that's just tuning in, we are, yeah, trust me, folks. I see all the new severe thunderstorm warnings. They're on the board. Um, the storm that has a history of producing tornadoes is currently moving through Tarrant County. It is largely stationary. It's not moving very quickly. It is in a weakening trend right now, but the reason that we're not counting this one out quite yet is the fact that it has done this already once before. This is what that storm did when it was over Wise County. It weakened, began to drift eastward, and then it wrapped up and intensified again as it moved through that area. So this is not a storm that we can um, just immediately count out. This is definitely still a storm capable of severe weather, so we have to watch it very closely. I see all the folks that want to go to bed. I trust me, I do too. I've been up since 7. Spent most of the day walking around Scarborough Renaissance Festival, and all the day, most of the day working as well. So trust me, I wish I could go to bed too, but worst case scenario, if you do need to go to bed, and I understand folks got church in the morning, got different things going on, subscribe to Weather Call, set up the phone calls to your phone, leave the ringer on. The phone rings, it will wake you up, and you'll know if there is a warning in your area. That's the best thing. The best thing about it is that you can set it to where you'll get that phone call if there's a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning issued for your area. Get your safe place ready so that if you get that phone call in the middle of the night and you need to take shelter, you can just immediately do that, right? That's the best way to do it. So that way, if you have to go to sleep and you don't want to have to wait up for this thing, give yourself that ability to do that. So that's the best thing about Weather Call. And even if you have your do not disturb set up on this phone, um, you can set it to where it will, you can get that phone number. You can do a test call in when you log into your dashboard and set everything up. You can do a test call, and it will always be the same number. So save that number, set it to bypass that do not disturb, and you'll get that phone call late at night. Victoria, if you go into your dashboard, your Weather Call dashboard, you get that test call, it's always going to be the same number. So right now, this storm continues over Tarrant County. It's not moving into our area right now. Right now, we are, staying. We're staying safe. But I don't trust this storm. As erratic as it has been, I don't trust this thing to be completely done. I mean, this could start to wrap up at any moment. It is moving more slowly eastward, and we could see this continue to intensify, at any time, just as it did before. I've seen all the comments about Italy. I can't say whether Italy will get something or not because it's impossible to say. It could wrap up and move due south again and impact that area, but right now it's not doing that. It's just very erratic and unpredictable. So it's hard to say one way or the other exactly where or where it's going to go or when it's going to get there. I don't have a lot of information about the tornado north of our area. I'm sure we won't know a whole lot until tomorrow morning. We definitely won't know the intensity because the National Weather Service actually has to go out there and survey that. So one would hope that this storm continues to weaken, and that we continue to see that trend. But whether or not we will do we whether or not we will actually see that, we can't guarantee one way or the other. This storm is moving eastward. It looks like it's moving more quickly now. That could be an indication of a continued weakening trend, because as that storm shrinks, it's going to get lighter and it's going to get carried by those prevailing winds. So it's moving into the Arlington area now. Moving towards there. The heaviest of this is probably right over downtown Fort Worth right now. It's going to continue to move eastward, but it's moving east at probably 20 to 30 miles per hour, not moving very quickly at all. I don't think it's the dry line pushing the storms east. The dry line is pretty far west of us. Now, the good news again with this storm is I'm not seeing rotation with it at this time. Yeah, the good news is with this one that it has continued to weaken. Yeah, we're not, I mean, this storm has been on a pretty consistent weakening trend so far. So, hopefully that will continue. Cameron, is there a reason why severe storms typically happen at night? Is because it gets colder? No, I mean, normally cooler air is going to discourage these storms. The reason we usually get them at night is they start farther west. The dry line is usually going to be farther west of our area, so it just takes them a while to get here. So that's why we often see nighttime storms. It's just the travel time from where they often start farther to the west. So again, I want to thank all the folks that sent in, Cash App and Venmo gifts and things. Julie, Alexis, Dustin, Christine. I think I'm caught up now. I know I missed some of those as they were coming in. I apologize, but with as fast as this was going, it was hard to keep up. So this is the storm we've been watching. This one has a history of producing tornadoes. This one, I mean, it's been very erratic tonight. This storm, it moved. I mean, it's been going since at least the Wichita Falls area. And it would take these southeasterly dives time and time again. And it would weaken, and then it would intensify, wrap up, and dive south. Then it would weaken, then intensify, wrap up, and dive south. And it was just this over and over trend of weaken and intensify, and then weaken and then intensify. And it just kept going back and forth. And so that prompted the National Weather Service to issue a new tornado watch farther south. I understand some were confused about that, but the fact of the matter is that, we were looking at this very erratic storm and the uncertainty involved in it. A new flash flood warning there in Tarrant County, and that's actually going to be, that is what you notice here, that new flash flood warning is within the existing warning. And the reason for that is that they have marked this a considerable damage threat. A life-threatening flash flooding, storm producing flash flooding. So this storm has slowed down so much that it is dumping heavy rain in Fort Worth right now. And so I think that some of that urban infrastructure is getting overwhelmed right now. And so that is why there is a new flash flood warning with a considerable damage threat there. in Fort Worth. So the main threat from this storm has shifted from the large hail, the damaging winds, the tornadoes, to now a flash flood threat at this point. That is the greatest concern from this storm, and that is because it's moved so slowly. Alexandra, it's Weather Call, and we can post that link again. But it's not an app; it's just an online service. That unlike an app, it's not going to be trying to ping the nearest cell tower to you. It specifically goes off of your address. At this point, it looks less and less likely that our area will be impacted by this, or at least the southern half of our area. But we can't totally rule that out. I would say until this storm is east of us, east of Dallas, I think we still have to be concerned about the storm and still at least have to keep an eye on it. Give me just a moment here. Okay, so here's the latest on the storm. We just had a new severe thunderstorm warning issued. Okay, new severe thunderstorm warning issued. This is going to be from Fort Worth over to Arlington down to Mansfield. That's essentially over to Grand Prairie as well. Forest Hill included in that too. It's going to be this area, far western Dallas County, central and eastern Tarrant County. So Fort Worth, Forest Hill, Everman's in there, northern Mansfield, Arlington, Grand Prairie, almost to Cedar Hill there, almost to Irving, just south of DFW Airport. And really just south of, it includes Hearst, Halton City there too, just south of NRH. So that's going to be that new severe thunderstorm warning. Ping pong size hail and 60 mile per hour winds possible. So that is a downgrade now. That is a downgrade from the severe weather threat that we saw earlier. So right now, this storm is not headed towards our area. It's not headed towards Johnson or Ellis counties. This storm is moving eastward into eastern Tarrant County, western Dallas County right now. And so it is not an immediate threat for our area here south of the Metroplex. That doesn't mean that can't change, however. We have seen this storm a number of times where it weakened and looked like it was, just going to drift eastward, and then it wrapped up again and moved due south. So we have a new hail core here just on the northwest side of Fort Worth. The greatest issue in Fort Worth right now is the flooding. That flash flood warning is the greatest concern there in this point. But anything south of the Metroplex here right now is not threatened. So that's the good news. I'm watching velocity here. I'm not sure what you're wanting me to look at, but I don't see anything that has me concerned about rotation at this time. If anything, there may be some straight line winds there's some straight line winds moving towards Eaterville, towards Arlington Lakeside, Pantego, that area. So this is going to be, at this point, there's some stronger winds moving northeast at this time. And again, that's going to be really right where 30 and 20 come together. So we've got a little bit of a gust front here east of Fort Worth. So some stronger winds moving that direction. So that, and the hail core right now, really the northern side of Fort Worth right now. So right there by the airport on I-35 West north of downtown Fort Worth. And I'm getting a lot of questions about an areas south of the Metroplex. Right now, this storm is not headed for anywhere south of the Metroplex. Right now, we everything is avoiding us for the moment, but I can't guarantee it's going to stay that way. Not seeing any hook echoes right now. I know there's a lot of weather fans that love to look for those hooks. They want to find that hook, but every hook shape doesn't mean that it's a rotating hook echo. There's a big difference between the two, so got to be careful there. Adriana Ramirez, what do the colors signify? It's different colors on the radar signify heavier precipitation. So green, yellow, red, that's lighter to heavier. And then you have the pink and sometimes the bright pink and black. That's going to be much heavier precipitation, sometimes hail. So that's what all the colors mean. Yeah, if you'll do me, I'm curious about this. If you'll do me a favor, and well, it's been a while since we've done this. If you'll put in the chat where you're watching from, I'm curious to see how many folks from the Metroplex as opposed to areas south are watching the stream. That kind of helps me to know what we're looking at in terms of in terms of the viewership. Julie, if I felt confident enough to teach an online class, I would definitely do that for you. The question was, are current dew points helping to diminish this beast? I don't believe so. There's still, I mean, we're still looking at dew points in the 70s across most of this area, so I don't think that dew points are doing anything to really change this. And we'll take a look at the Glen Heights camera too. It's going to be looking probably right at this storm. It's definitely a lot less lightning than we were seeing before. I say that as lightning happens, but not quite seeing the lightning show that we were seeing before. I have to tell you too, I think at this point we're basically babysitting this storm. I just mean the way that this thing. I was on the phone with Matt, who has helped moderate many of these streams. The number of times that we have watched this storm going, okay, we're done, and then it just intensifies again. I mean, it's just incredible, the history of this thing. And they issued that new tornado watch, south of the Metroplex. The camera that we just showed is looking at the storm, so it's looking northwest. But the number of times that we thought the storm was done and then it recycled and intensified again. I mean, my lord, this thing. Okay. So this storm north of Azle, we might have to pay attention to this one now. Okay, that storm north of Azle is starting to turn. That's starting to move southeast now. Okay. All right. So this storm north of Azle, I'm starting to see possible rotation with that storm at this point. Unless, well, actually, let me take a look. Okay. Yeah. I think we could be looking at rotation with the storm north of Azle now. Um, I want to show you on velocity. I mean, we're looking at just north of Pelican Bay, which I mean, this is an area that's already seen enough storms already. But I mean, that's a pretty decent couplet there, and that storm is beginning to turn to the southeast. So I will definitely be watching that second storm that is behind the one we've been watching. Um, my oh my! Look at this thing. This storm here, and this is what we've been talking about here. This southeastern motion, and this storm is lime-sized hail possible with this storm. So definitely a hail situation. Definitely a very strong updraft, and that could very well be trying to rotate there north of Azle. So we'll have to keep an eye on that storm. And we'll be watching the storm, this other one in Tarrant County as well. But here's the thing: neither of these are in our area. Um, Neither of these storms are currently threatening our area immediately. But the problem is that they're right north of us, and either one of these could take a right turn at any time. And move southeast and threaten our area. So I don't normally cover storms that are in the Metroplex, but the thing is that I want to be on the air if one of these decides to take a right turn and dive in, just like this original storm did when it was in Wise County. It just dove right into Parker County, directly towards Weatherford, and dropped a couple of tornadoes in the process. Morgan, if you just signed up for Weather Call, you should have been able to sign in to um, your dashboard there. If you go to Weather Call, go to the website there. If you go to the website, and I'll just show you briefly here. Go to the Weather Call website. There at the login, you're going to click that. You can log into NextGen, and that'll take you right to it. So that'll take you to your dashboard. So that will allow you to log in and adjust any of those settings and make sure that your address is right and that kind of thing. So here's what we're looking at here. This storm in northwest Tarrant County looks like it's turning right. Could be rotating, could be trying to generate some rotation there. I see maybe some broad rotation. Definitely a very large hail threat with that storm materializing. And so that could be an issue as we go forward as well. And we're watching the original storm because that one, I don't think that one's done either. So hard to say about Fort Worth because we have to keep watching this storm in northwest Tarrant County. That one looks like it could be taking a right turn here, so that may be our next culprit. I appreciate all of uh, the weather call purchases too. So yeah, we're gonna be watching this second storm. The first storm may continue to weaken. Um, I mean, it may be that one may finally stop being an issue, but now we have this second storm that looks like it's taking a right turn. So that one could become our next could be our next contestant here. Brittany, I guess one of the storms. It could merge, I suppose. Um, one a weaker storm could be ingested by a stronger storm. I would have a hard time believing one would happen with the other because this first storm is still pretty large and pretty intense. So I don't think we'll see that in the near future. But that said, this dominant storm here in northwest Tarrant County could be now robbing the first storm of intensity because it's essentially taking over all of the instability and all the resources there. So that's possible. Jordan, the worst storm I've experienced firsthand. If you mean the worst storm that I've actually been in, that I've been a part of, are you asking the worst storm that I've been in personally, or the worst storm that I've covered? Because those are two very different questions. I guess it could really be the same question, but um, just one moment here. I got an email I need to. Okay. Deborah Perry, I got your email. I'm not going to reply by email because I'm not going to take the time to type here, but you're asking why the watch goes until 5 a.m. So, I mean, when that watch was issued, we were watching that main storm with the potential for it to move to the right and move southeast. It's a slow moving storm though, so I mean it could take a few hours to move all through that area. So it essentially was allowing for time for that storm to basically take its time moving, and you know, so it was just allowing for that storm to move very slowly as it went. So it was really just a precautionary watch. So, I mean, Jordan, you're asking about the worst storm that I've covered was probably the tornado that went south of Waxahachie back, what was that, 2022? About 4 years ago. Um, probably the most intense storm that I've actually actively covered in this area. Okay, new severe thunderstorm warning, and it's almost hard to keep track of where the warnings are at this point. Okay, this is going to be a new warning. This is for tennis ball sized hail. This is that storm. This is accounting for that right turn. So this is the new warning here that goes from northwest Tarrant County, from Pelican Bay, right up there near Azle, on southeast into downtown Fort Worth and North Richland Hills, that area. So this is the new warning. This is accounting for this right turn. So that's going to take this storm into central Tarrant County. This is what we've been talking about. When they turn right, that's going to make it trend more towards our area. So if that trend continues, that could bring it into southern Dallas County, northern Ellis County. But it's hard to know if that trend is going to continue. And this storm is bringing plenty of winds, too. Winds are picking up in that storm. So, I mean, we got we got okay, yeah, we got, I mean, there's let me just pause this really quickly and show, just for the sake of showing the warnings. So the warning from Fort Worth over to Arlington Grand Prairie, these two continue for the old storm. This one's for the new storm. This one here from Azle and Pelican Bay on down to River Oaks, Fort Worth, Watauga, North Richland Hills, Keller, this area. That's the new warning, because this storm here, let me turn this back on now. This storm is going to now take that right turn and move southeast. The concern here, we could start to see that storm try to rotate here pretty soon, because we are seeing winds that are increasing. So with all of the wind shear involved, that's a possibility. Adrian, I use Radar Omega is the program that I'm using. Leia, Chris Nunley, I have heard that a lot about him. I don't know him personally, but I've heard a lot that he, exactly what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, you said that he exaggerates every storm. I've heard that a lot about his content. So that is a pretty consistent concern that I've heard about his content. So just to kind of reiterate here, there is nothing that is immediately concerning about our area here south of the Metroplex. Yes, I'm watching velocity radar, so I do have that up. There's no, nothing immediately concerning for the area south of the Metroplex, which of course is our core coverage area. But this storm that is now moving into Dallas County has a history of changing trajectory, specifically turning right, which would send it our direction. And then we do have the storm north of Fort Worth that has now taken that right turn and is trending southeastward. So that could impact our area if that trend continues. Lancaster, nothing too concerning headed to Lancaster right now. Mostly just looking at rain headed at that area. Well, right now the greatest concern is going to be the storm in northern Tarrant County. This one with a new severe thunderstorm warning reported, and that is a considerable damage warning. That's tennis ball size hail possible with that storm. I also have to mention here, we do have this flash flood warning, and that is going to be a major issue in downtown Fort Worth, just because that storm moved very, very slow and dumped a lot of heavy rain there. So those can very quickly exacerbate, the flooding issues, those urban flooding issues, and can overwhelm that infrastructure. So the heaviest of this is in the Arlington area now, south of North Richland Hills, towards Eaterville, south of Hearst. So those are going to be the areas that are getting hit the hardest. Right there along I-20. Well, actually, that's going to be what? 357, and then this Pioneer Parkway through Arlington. So Pioneer and right over UTA, actually. And then right there towards 360 as well. So in Arlington, that's where we're getting the heaviest of this precipitation. Probably some hail involved in that. Also towards Eaterville, there, right along I-30. Yeah, north of Hanley. So those are the areas that are getting hit the hardest with this storm in Tarrant County, moving into western Dallas County. And that storm, nothing terribly concerning in that storm at the moment, but we are watching this storm here near Pelican Bay. That's North Fort Worth right now. This storm, a large hail threat with that one right now. New flash flood warning in Tarrant County. So that's going to be for. Let's see, which warning is that? Okay, that's going to be for that northern storm. So that's right up here. So that new storm up there, that's where we're looking at a new flash flood warning. Julian, tomorrow, essentially, yes. I mean, tomorrow, I have not had a chance to really look into tomorrow's weather, but generally, we've been expecting about the same. Maybe not quite as high a chance of severe weather. Looks like that likelihood of severe weather, the heavier severe weather threat is going to be farther north of us. But we are in a marginal risk, and it's just in case one or two storms happen to pop up along the dry line. That's the thing, is we didn't have that happen to us today, not in the way we expected. I was expecting either due west or southwest of us to have a storm or two pop up that might impact us, but none of that happened. So then we were able to get away with not getting any storms until this one dove in all the way from Wichita Falls and moved into the Metroplex. And so it hasn't moved south yet, but it is, close enough to be something to watch. This is the cyclone port camera in Glen Heights. Look like they're starting to get some rain now. So getting a few raindrops there. Still plenty of lightning in all of this as well. But this is in Glen Heights looking northwest. I'm sorry. It's going to be northwest because it's looking at the storm. You can see Cedar Hill, the towers there. So this is looking sort of west-northwest. So we will monitor these storms. We'll continue to do that. I think that this storm, not as much a concern for Johnson County at this point. This will be, we'll be watching this move through Tarrant County. If it continues that rightward trajectory, could be a problem for parts of Dallas and Ellis counties later on, but it's still a fairly slow-moving storm. I mean, this one's moving at 25 miles per hour, so still a fairly slow mover. And that's the thing. None of this is happening very quickly. And yes, it is. It is Sunday. Reminds me of it reminds me of Gabriel Iglesias. He has a joke where he says, "You know how late it is? It's tomorrow," and that's exactly where we're at right now. So we will be monitoring all of this. I will continue to monitor all of this, and we're still watching to see. I don't. A lot of folks asking if we're clear for the night. Here's the thing: it's very hard to say who is clear and who's not. I would say if you're in Johnson County, you're probably done. But it all depends on this storm here. That's what I'm watching. Now that storm could continue its southeasterly track, or it could, weaken and then go east again. It's very hard to say exactly what that thing's going to do. It's going to be probably just as erratic as the last one. So it's hard to say who's clear and who's not. Um, so I'm going to have to keep an eye on these. I mean, there's really no way that I can just call call it done tonight. We just got to wait and see what happens. Southern Dallas County, for right now, you don't really have anything going on. In fact, none of our area south of the Metroplex has much going on. I would say if you're along 35 West right now, if you're in Hill County, Johnson County, you're probably done for the night. Um, but aside from that, the eastern half of our area, Ellis County, Navarro County, Dallas County, go ahead and hang on because I don't know, you know, Tarrant County, Dallas, Ellis, Navarro. Those are going to be the areas that could be impacted by this. Okay, so they have updated this severe thunderstorm warning now, and it just contains this storm, which has continued to weaken, thankfully. This is the one that gave us a few tornadoes tonight and made it all the way down from Wichita Falls. Just an absolute beast of a storm. But thankfully, uh, we have seen it degrade enough to where I think we're good to go. Eva, okay, I think it's officially too late. We got people. What does it say? Weather Daddy. I think we've hit too late. Too late at night for this stuff. New severe thunderstorm warning. That's going to be farther north though. That's going to be, yeah, okay. That's north of Paris. Not here. I think we're good to go here for the moment. But we have to continue to monitor this storm north of Fort Worth because that is now moving more southeasterly. So that could be a problem in downtown Fort Worth. Not that they've had enough already. And again, like I say, if you got to go to bed, I completely understand. If you want to have a weather alarm, essentially though, you sign up for a weather call. You leave the phone, you leave the ringer on. If you're like me, you pretty much live with the ringer off. But you know, leave the ringer on, and that's going to allow you to get that phone call late at night. It's gonna. I mean, you leave the ringer on, you put it next to you. It's going to wake you up. And so just that's a way that you can go to bed and get your rest without worrying about missing something. When I was growing up, I when I was growing up as a kid, my dad would stay up late and watch the weather for the whole family. I had school and stuff. I couldn't always stay up. But he would stay awake and he would monitor it for us and make sure that we knew whether we needed to be woken up to go to the storm shelter or whatever. Weather call can do that for you. We don't have to have that designated person in the family anymore. I use don't ring unknown numbers. Well, that's the nice part is you can do a sample or a test call, and also and I'll try to share this too. But Weather Call shared a post the other day showing the number that'll call you, but it's always going to be the same number. So if you add that number in and you save it as Weather Call, it's gonna always be the same one. So you can make sure that you recognize that. Winds are picking up west of Fort Worth in this storm. Renee, you get a warning pretty much within seconds of it being issued by the National Weather Service. So it's not in advance of the National Weather Service issuing a warning. It's very very quick to when they've issued it. So that's what's nice about it. There are times where I'll be telling you that a warning is issued before I even finish my sentence. Weather call is calling. So very very quick. So we're watching these. If you're just joining in, I think there's some new people here. We are watching these two storms, and both of those are impacting the Metroplex right now. Not much impacting our particular area, but both of these storms have a track record of moving southeastward. And when that happens, that means that they could impact our area later on. The storm currently moving through Arlington is the same storm that came out of the Wichita Falls area. Dropped a few tornadoes already tonight, at least 2 or 3. And it was weakened and moving east through parts of Wise County, started to wrap up again, and it took a nosedive southward into Parker County and dropped a couple of tornadoes. So these storms have been very erratic, very unpredictable. And so we've had to keep an eye on those just in case they impact our area. They haven't yet, but Johnson, Ellis, and Navarro counties are included in a tornado watch until 5 a.m., just in case one of these storms makes it into our area. The cap is still in place, but the fact of the matter is that we could still see. We could, we have instability, we have humidity, we have all the things in place that, the cap will pretty much keep new storms from blowing up, or at least they should. But we've had a couple of updrafts that were just strong enough to punch through, and we talked about how there might be some weaker spots. In this storm, it wasn't new in the cap; it was already ongoing and already powerful, so it was able to just penetrate right through it. So the siren's going off in Midlothian. If that's the outdoor warning sirens, it's probably for the hail threat. Because it's not what you may not know, because the municipalities are not always good at spreading this information, is that those outdoor sirens are not just for tornadoes. They are for, large hail damaging winds as well. Some folks saying that they're in from that you're watching from Oklahoma. Just know we cover Dallas, between Dallas and Waco, so that's kind of our area here. We're probably not going to be very helpful with information from Oklahoma. But yes, I'm hearing that sirens are going off in Arlington. That's probably going to be for the threat of large hail and damaging winds. This storm north of Fort Worth continues to intensify here, and my word, it's not as big as the last storm, but it's getting there. That does not look good at all. Amber, either one of these storms could weaken. The larger storm definitely has been consistently on a weakening trend, but again, like I've been saying, we've seen these intensify enough to where they've been a pretty big concern. So I've been monitoring them very closely for that reason. Okay, so you're from Oklahoma, racing in Ennis. Got it. Okay, so yeah, the Motorplex there in Ennis. There's nothing headed there right now, but if this storm continues that southerly, southeasterly trend, that could become an issue. Okay, so folks asking for that weather call link. So let me get that posted again here. And here's the thing, that weather call link will work anywhere in the country, anywhere in the United States. So the folks that are watching from Oklahoma, you can sign up for weather call right now, put in your address, and then use the Find Me feature to locate, to get warnings here. Then when you get back to Oklahoma, just put in, just do the Find Me again so it resets to your home address, and you're golden, right? You don't have to be here in this area to use weather call. It's going to be my voice. So it's going to be a local voice here to this area, but you don't have to be here to use weather call. So that's the thing. Share it with family and friends that are outside of this area, and it will work all the same. So this storm in, let's take a look at this warning. Okay, so now this severe thunderstorm warning has been upgraded to a destructive damage threat. Baseball-sized hail possible in this storm in Tarrant County. This is the one north of Fort Worth, and very concerning storm. So now we have a new severe thunderstorm warning that includes really the southwestern, almost all of the southwestern half of Dallas County. So that's the best southwest area. So Cedar Hill, Duncanville, DeSoto, Grand Prairie, over to Lancaster, Wilmer, included in that, Glen Heights as well. So all of this area now included in this severe thunderstorm warning. That is for this storm that has been going all evening and all night so far. That is a ping pong sized hail threat and 60 mile per hour winds. So both of these storms, the hail threat is the primary issue here. Now the storm north of Fort Worth, 60 mile per hour winds, but baseball sized hail possible with that storm. So very large hail threat. For weather call, what is the secondary number? It's going to be, well, that's so. Yeah, if you want to add a second number, that can be for anyone. We have obviously a lot of married couples, the husband and wife or the spouse. The two spouses will add their numbers. I've seen some where someone may add their number, and then if they have an elderly a parent living with them or someone living with them, I've even heard kids in college, and they split it with their roommate, and they and their roommate are on the account. So you get two phone numbers per account. So you can add someone living with you or nearby you or something, to that account. And that's, it's not required, but you can add up to two numbers on each account. See, now is the part of the stream where the cats want to go in and out the whole time. So I'm opening and closing the door over and over again. And again, thank you so much for all of the Cash Apps and Venmos that came in. I'm not even sure where I left off last, but I think Sean, Lynn, and Anna, thank you so much for the Cash Apps. Those are greatly appreciated. And then I love to see all of the weather call purchases here. That reassures to me that you guys are going to stay informed when a warning is issued. Really, really greatly appreciated. Because I do, just for the sake of disclosure, I do get a small cut of that. Not much of that, but a small cut of that. But if you want to find where's my angle on that, what benefit do I get? The biggest benefit is that you're informed, hey, a warning's been issued. I need to tune into South Metro Weather, right? If there's a benefit to me, but the greatest benefit is the assurance that so many people are going to get these warnings. That seems to be the one thing that people aren't sure about. They say, well, I'm sure I'll hear about it on social media, or my phone will maybe go off or whatever. You have to be sure. There's a reason that the folks that run Weather Call trademarked the phrase layers save lives. Multiple ways of getting warnings, because you never know when one way or the other is going to fail. Weather radios are great, but sometimes they have issues. A number of them I can think of in the last year that I've heard about. Apps are okay, but apps, sometimes they're going to tell you about something going on in another part of the county. So then you stop paying attention to it. So it's just good it's good to have multiple layers of warnings possible. And okay, so we've got flash flood warnings coming out here, and that's going to be again in that's going to be in Tarrant County. Let's see. The black spot is very heavy precipitation. Normally the black stuff is going to be the hail north of Fort Worth. So that's going to be that's probably the hail core. Cedar Hill area, can I go to bed until the next round? So, I mean, here's the thing. Cedar Hill, you may have this storm moving your way, this storm north of Fort Worth. So I would not say that Cedar Hill is out of the woods here. Just got a call from Weather Call, but I don't know if that was the test because it didn't say test. Well, Alexander, if you're in an area that has a severe thunderstorm warning, then that was for the warning itself. Melissa, no, no tornadoes right now. The sirens that are going off right now are going off for large hail. That's going to be the main threat from these storms. So those outdoor warning sirens are not just for tornadoes at this point. They do warn for large hail, large damaging hail at this point as well. And tonight everyone's on alert because of the history with this storm. It has been a very intense storm, all the way from back to Mineral Wells, or Wichita Falls, rather. That's how far back it goes. Brandy, if it's a number saved that calls and you have an iPhone, you can set it to emergency bypass for that number. Yes, that's correct. So yeah, if you have your Do Not Disturb turned on, you can utilize that feature, and it will bypass that Do Not Disturb while you're asleep. So yeah, that's great. So, I mean, here we have it, folks. Right now, everything is in the Metroplex. Nothing in our immediate area here. But that does not mean that we are totally out of the woods here south of the Metroplex, because this storm has, both of these have shown a history of weakening and then intensifying, the weakening, intensifying, going back and forth. And, either way is possible. That's kind of the worrying thing with all of this. This can go either way. So as we see this storm in the Fort Worth area now, if it continues to move southeastward, that could move into parts of Ellis and Dallas counties. So that could be an issue for our area. Just received like 4 calls for extreme thunderstorms and severe thunderstorms. Well, that's the thing. Some of those areas, I mean, if you're in Arlington, you're covered by like 3 different severe thunderstorm warnings right now. It's kind of chaotic up there. So it may seem like overload, but that's just kind of the setup that's going on right now. So I'm reading a comment here. Carrie, I appreciate your kind words there. Benjamin, I mean, that's the thing is, the severe thunderstorm warning that has there's a destructive tag with the severe thunderstorm warning there. And that is for baseball sized hail. So that's the concern in that area. Thank you to, Ricky for the Cash App. Greatly appreciated there. So this is the thing. It's largely a hail threat at this point. Adam, you're asking, does the fact that it's switching from a single blob to more of a stretch storm tell us anything? Well, I mean, I think what it tells us is the storm is weakening, and so it's getting shaped more by the wind shear in the atmosphere. And that's differing wind speeds and differing directions, right? So I think that's part of it. Is that the storm is not as intense as it was, so now it's kind of getting distorted by the different directions that the winds are going. So I think that's part of that. Benjamin, so it should be dying out soon. We don't know. That's been one of the biggest questions we've had all evening, is when are these storms going to die out? Are they going to re-intensify? Any of that. So it's very hard to say either way. Don't know if it's going to hit Midlothian. Depends on if it keeps that southeasterly track. It may or may not. Tiffany, yeah, we've posted the link for Weather Call several times. Yeah, if you go to southmetroweather.com/weather call, the link is there. I've posted it a few times here. You can do the QR code. It's in the description of the video. We get a weather call. We get a call from Weather Call way before Ellis County Alert and WAP Alert. Yeah, I mean, I've demonstrated it on the air. The Weather Call is notifications are very quick. Just looking back through some information here. Yeah, so Arlington Scanner posting the city of Arlington has activated the outdoor warning sirens due to the threat of severe weather, large hail and damaging winds. So yeah, that's the thing is we're looking at this is a hail threat at this point, hail and strong winds. So that's the primary concern. This storm continues to move southeasterly, and it's moving right into downtown Fort Worth right now. Large hail is the primary risk with that storm. Where it's capable of baseball size hail at this time. So that's a big deal there. So be mindful of that for sure. Yeah, and that's that destructive. Let me see if I can get it over here, where you see this is a destructive storm. It's baseball size hail possible, and that is moving right into downtown Fort Worth right now. That storm could possibly continue on to the southeast, and that could possibly impact parts of Ellis County if it continues that track. It's unclear whether it's going to or not. I would not be in the car in Fort Worth right now. If you're able to stay in the hospital for a little while, that would be my recommendation, because this storm is going to be very intense in Fort Worth very shortly. So you're asking about Flower Mound, and I'm actually blanking on where that is. I think I'm been awake too long. Okay, so so you're talking about up in Denton County. I haven't been watching that one. And it very well could grow. Yeah, I mean, this if you're talking about this one, um, near Texas Motor Speedway, I mean, it could very well continue to grow. But I haven't really been watching that one because these storms here have been the main concern. So if you're on 20 West heading to 820, well, which spot? I guess it depends on which part of 820 you're talking about. But I mean, either way, um, I mean, baseball size hail is baseball size hail. So if you're on the road, I would definitely seek shelter. But just please make sure that you do not take shelter under an overpass. That's just just please don't do that. Terrible thing to do. So, I mean, somebody's asking about Haltom City. I mean, I would say Haltom City, you're probably not under the worst of this, so that should pass, uh, shortly. Yeah, I mean, if you're in Tarrant County right now, if you're ahead of this storm, I would take shelter if you can, or at least take time off the road. Just like I say, do not park under an overpass. Sunny, I would say it's pretty unlikely at this point that Rio Vista gets any of this. I don't think that Rio Vista has anything to worry about at this point. So just to remind, I see the comment, the tornado sirens going off here in Dallas. Just a reminder, those are not just tornado sirens. Those are for, potentially, damaging weather, which is going to be large hail, strong, damaging winds, that kind of thing. Yeah. So again, those sirens not exclusively for tornadoes. That is going to be for large hail, damaging winds, that kind of thing. We've got plenty of that. So the storm in the Fort Worth area right now, that is going to be the primary concern there. Is going to be again, and I'm getting a lot of questions south of I-20. I don't see an immediate concern south of I-20 right now. Down in south of the Metroplex, those areas are not looking at anything immediate. It's all about north of the Metroplex right now. So I mean, I'm seeing Maybank, Ennis, Midlothian. None of those areas are in an immediate threat at this point. Let's see. I mean, I've seen your comments about Forest Hill. Forest Hill, I mean, it's in the path of this storm, so you'll want to. Um, this storm is not headed to Maybank. Not seeing anything in Midlothian anytime soon. Just going to depend on if this storm continues to move southeast. But yeah, I mean, in Forest Hill, this storm is headed that direction. So sit tight and stay tuned. Starting to yawn. Can't do that. So Jesse, I wouldn't say Ellis County can go to sleep yet. I mean, you see this storm in Fort Worth. It's moving southeast, so if it continues that track, it will move into Ellis County. But if you have to go to sleep, then get weather call, turn those turn the volume up on the call. The ringer. Guys, I'm so tired I can't even think straight. you know, turn the ringer on, take it off silent, and that phone call will wake you up in the middle of the night, should the need be. But right now, the main issue is going to be the hail in Fort Worth in that area. Very intense storm there. We have two severe storms right now. One in the Arlington area, one extending from basically Grand Prairie over towards Dallas. Shalom, nothing near Italy right now. Laura, too early to say about Corsicana. Getting a report of tennis ball size hail at the stockyards in Fort Worth, and golf ball hail in Haltom City. So definitely hail in these storms here in the Metroplex. This storm moving into Dallas County may be starting to intensify again. It's been on a weakening trend for a while, but that may be changing here. So we may be dealing with more intense weather from that once again. And it's done that already tonight a few times. It has, picked up intensity and then weakened and then picked up intensity again. So would not be the first time. Another issue going on in Fort Worth right now is we're getting another shot of very heavy rain. There's been flash flood warnings in place there, and we're getting another storm with very, very heavy rain. So that is going to be another possible concern for that area. Definitely not a concern that we want to be facing there, but downtown Fort Worth, you do have to worry about some flooding issues as this storm moves through. Yeah, getting reports of hail in Grand Prairie. That's going to be that other storm heading into Dallas County. So hail is a concern with that storm as well. We'll take another look at the cyclone port there in Glen Heights. Looks like a little airplane there. And yeah, plenty of lightning still. And this is looking west-northwest towards those storms. So, Glen Heights, you're kind of just getting the edge of this. You're not really getting the bulk of that storm that is probably going to pass north of your area. Abigail, it's moving into Fort Worth right now. Too early to say about Corsicana. Yeah, so this storm is picking up intensity now, and I'm seeing some rotation possibly trying to take shape here in parts of really between Grand Prairie and Duncanville, right here at I-20, just south of DBU, really. That's going to be I-20 and Patriot Parkway. So this area here, this is where I'm a little concerned about this one trying to rotate a little bit. Looks like maybe some broad rotation at least right here along I-20. That's going to be west of, it's right there near Sunset Acres, northwest of Duncanville. So right there along I-20, I'm concerned about it trying to rotate again. We can see the hail core intensifying. That tells me that there's updrafts that are intensifying with this. So southwest Dallas County, watching for the potential of some rotation there in that area. This is going to be west of the Executive Airport, west of Duncanville, south of Grand Prairie, right here near the intersection of 1382 and I-20. So this area right here looks like we could be looking at some broad rotation there, trying to take shape. Of course, we have a little hook there, and we have the increasing hail core over Grand Prairie. So that could be a possible problem developing there. Some possible rotation trying to develop in southwest Dallas County. This is the storm, guys, that has had a history of producing tornadoes. Again, this is the storm that's followed all the way down through Wichita Falls. And these storms have had a history of weakening, then intensifying, weakening, then intensifying. And so southwest Dallas County is where I'm watching for the possibility of some rotation trying to form there. No way to know yet if that's going to hold on, but it very well could. Nothing headed to Palmer right now, Joey. Not at this moment. So we will have to watch this storm in Dallas County now. And I'll show you that on velocity here. This is the area I'm talking about. Any rotation, it looks like it's going to be broad, but as quickly as these storms have wrapped up and intensified before, that is definitely worth watching. I've been hearing multiple reports of one fatality in those storms over in Wise County, but I don't have any additional information on that. Fix my hair there after I messed it up. In fact, let me check something here. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything immediately concerning there. Um, Too early to tell on anything in the Ferris area. So here's what we're watching. We're watching these two storms right here in the Metroplex, one in Tarrant County, one in Dallas County. This Dallas County storm, this is the one that I've been watching since it was up in the Wichita Falls area. That is the one that has produced multiple tornadoes. Ryan, again, not looking at the storms moving towards Malakoff at this point. Um, and we have the storm in Tarrant County here. That one is continuing to move southeastward. Looks like that may be on a weakening trend, but then we have the storm in Dallas County that seems to be picking up intensity and could be showing an attempt to rotate at this point. So it could be some rotation developing with that storm west of Duncanville. So an increasing hail threat over Grand Prairie right now. So yeah, baseball-sized hail possible with this storm now. So it looks like the one in Tarrant County may be cycling down, and then the storm in Dallas County picking up intensity. So the storm in Tarrant County, that's going to continue to track southeastward, probably towards the Arlington area, towards Mansfield, eventually possibly into Ellis County if it continues that track. And then watching some broad rotation over in southwest Dallas County and a fairly large hail core over the Grand Prairie area stretching down towards Duncanville. So the storm in Dallas County, this is the one that we've had a history with. We've been watching this one for quite a while, and it looks like it's cycling up again. So we're going to have to watch this storm very closely. This is the storm that when it intensifies and wraps up, we are able to kind of see the change in trajectory, at least we have in the past, and it'll take a right turn, which would put it moving southeast. So if it does that, that would move more into our coverage area. So, of course, we cover between Dallas and Waco, and this is between Dallas and Waco, the southern part of Dallas County. Aaliyah at Forest Hill, I think is for the most part, Forest Hill is probably. Oh, hold on. Let me check something here. Yeah, Forest Hill. I mean, I think the hail threat is probably going to stay north of you there in Forest Hill, but I don't think you're completely done yet. There may be some broad rotation trying to develop there, but nothing too concerning at this point. At this point, the greatest threat in both of these storms is going to be a possible flooding threat with how much heavy rain we're getting, and then we could be looking at a some concerning rotation with these as well, and we'll be watching that very closely. Okay, yeah, we're gonna keep monitoring that Dallas County storm. Because I'm not really liking what I see there. So, Caleb, you're You're putting critical thunderstorm warning in all caps. We're gonna stick with the terminology here. So the hail threat is definitely increasing for the Dallas County storm. That's going to be headed right towards downtown Dallas. Um, yeah, I mean that's right over Grand Prairie right now. Going to be moving eastward right towards Dallas County. This storm in Tarrant County, still a hail threat with that. Looks like it may not be as intense, but that storm will continue to move southeast. That's moving into the Arlington area now, possibly towards Mansfield. Uh, Folks asking about Ellis County, the storm that is moving southeast looks like we could be looking at that, continuing that track. So that would bring it towards Ellis County. But this storm in Dallas County, definitely a concern here. I mean, you can see that big black spot. It's just the hail threat is very quickly intensifying there. And, we could be looking at rotation trying to develop in that storm as well. I think any rotation in that storm is still fairly broad, but it is there. So downtown Dallas, especially the southern half of Dallas, the southern Dallas area, that's what needs to be paid very close attention to at this point. Duncanville, the hail threat looks to move north of there, but we are watching this area of possible rotation in that area. But this storm, oh, hold on. If I can get that to pause for me. Okay, that storm's starting to pull a little bit southeast. So here we go again. No reports of grapefruit-sized hail, by the way. Somebody from YouTube trolling there. Yeah, so that Dallas County storm, I think we're starting to see a little bit of deja vu here. It's picking up intensity, starting to try to rotate, and it does appear that it may be trying to move southeastward. So that's going to be a concern. And I am seeing, now it's very hard to tell, very hard to see, but I think we may be looking at a little bit of a lowering here. Yes. Very good shot from the lightning there. This is the Glen Heights camera. I'm seeing a lowering. So that could be what we're looking at on the radar here, where we're looking at that broad rotation. I think we could be looking at a lowering in those clouds, possibly a little bit of a wall cloud there. Again, very hard to see, but looking back towards the Duncanville area. Here's Cedar Hill, looking back towards the Duncanville area, maybe west of Duncanville. I think we could be looking at a little bit of a lowering there. If we get another shot of the lightning, see if we can get another good look at here. We'll see if we can get another lightning. Yeah. So, I mean, it looks like we are seeing a lowering now. I don't know if we're looking at some kind of a shelf cloud there. Very hard to judge in but yeah, there definitely looks to be some kind of a lowering there. And then I think what we're seeing farther north on this side, that's probably going to be the hail core. But right over here, we're definitely seeing a lowering from those clouds. So I think that could be a wall cloud that we're looking at in that area, in the Duncanville area right now. Duncanville is not clear, Caleb. See if we can get another shot at that. It's very hard to tell because you have to get a lightning strike just right in the right spot. This is the Glen Heights Cyclone Port camera looking northwest. So this is going to be looking towards that area of the storm where we could be seeing some rotation trying to intensify there. It looks like generally broad rotation, but, that can intensify very quickly. Yeah, sirens going off in Arlington, Grand Prairie. That's going to be for that large hail threat. Just remember, those sirens don't go off exclusively for tornadoes anymore. They do go off for that large hail and damaging wind threat. So we've been looking at that cyclone port camera here in Glen Heights, and we have seen some kind of a lowering here. We're not getting a consistent look because we're strictly relying on the lightning, but it does look like we see some lowering in those clouds. But it's just hard to see. It's hard to get a good look at it. But right, you saw that right there. If we get the lightning in the right spot, you can see that lowering there. So that's what we're kind of paying attention to. That's going to be that area north of Cedar Hill. So that could very well be what we're looking at in that Duncanville areas where where we could be looking at some rotation trying to take hold. That large hail threat going to be right around Cockrell Hill. Not seeing anything headed to Gun Barrel City right now. Yeah, I mean, that's from Ledbetter Hills up to Eagle Ford with the heaviest of that hail likely right near Cockrell Hill right now. Nothing headed to Rice right now. So again, we've been seeing some lowerings here, but again, it's just hard to see if that's some kind of a shelf cloud we're looking at. That's a very real possibility. Without getting a full picture, it's really hard to judge what we're seeing, but we have seen some lowerings in that general direction, like we've been talking about in that Duncanville area, where we've been looking at least some broad rotation. One would think that we wouldn't have a lowering if we were looking at broad rotation, but it is possible there. Yeah, so hail coming down in Duncanville. Yeah, I'm still seeing a lowering there that seems fairly independent. New severe thunderstorm warning issued for Dallas County, and this is going to be most of Dallas County, really like about central and southern Dallas County mostly. But that's going to be for that tennis ball sized hail possible with that storm. And we're still seeing some of that rotation possible in the Duncanville area. The storm off to the west, still looking at a hail threat there, but not quite as intense as that storm moves towards the Midlothian area, Arlington and Mansfield areas, possibly north of Mansfield. It's now moving more easterly here. So if anything, this storm probably headed towards southeastern Dallas County and then possibly northern Ellis County. Caleb, what is a lowering? I'm okay. We're talking about possibly a wall cloud associated with some rotation there, but very very hard to tell. So you can see the Tarrant County storm now weakening, and now it's the Dallas County storm that is intensifying. So we've kind of been seeing these go back and forth. Alexandra, how will I know if it's a true tornado if the sirens go off for hail and high winds? I can barely hear it, and I do have weather call, but I would like to also to know if the sirens know if the siren. So Alexandra, I mean, if there's a tornado, we will let you know on the air. If there's a tornado warning issued, and it's an observed tornado, we will let you know about that. And there's other ways too, but that's you can rely on us and we'll let you know. Chrissy, this storm in Tarrant County may hit parts of Mansfield. Just depends on if it continues that southeasterly track, but it may just shift eastward and mostly kind of avoid that area. Yeah, the storm has moved out of Fort Worth, so I think in the Forest Hill area, Aaliyah, I think you're good. And then Dallas County, again, that hail threat continues. That's really headed right towards downtown Dallas right now. So if you're in downtown Dallas, just keep in mind that hail threat is there. Hail threat now increasing again in Tarrant County. So these warnings, these sirens rather, these outdoor warning sirens are going to be going off for the large hail and damaging wind threats. We do not have any tornado warnings or anything like that at this point. Now, I have been looking at some possible rotation in parts of Dallas County, but that has not at this point substantiated to anything. We'll take another look at the cyclone report camera there in Glen Heights. Still seeing, I mean, you can definitely see plenty of very heavy precipitation. Excuse me, you can kind of see a shadow here. I'm pretty sure that's probably the hail core. That's going to be the heaviest precipitation. That's going to be that hail core that we're looking at. And then we're still looking at maybe a little bit of a lowering here in those clouds. So that's going to be a possibility too. Yeah, we can see some lowerings there. So that could be part of where we're seeing that broad rotation southwest of Dallas. But again, nothing that is immediately concerning to me. So the main threat is going to continue to be the hail. Multiple reports of hail from quarter size to $half size there in southwest Dallas. So as far as Ellis County is concerned, it's hard to say exactly what's going to be headed that direction. This storm, originally the one in Arlington, was headed towards parts of Ellis County, may still be, but it looks like it's shifting more eastward. These storms have been hard to track for a long distance because they shift directions. So if you're in northern Ellis County, I would be paying attention to this because this storm with large hail could be headed that direction. Way too early to say about Corsicana. Not sure if anything's going to hold on there. And we could actually be seeing this Dallas County storm trying to move southeasterly a little bit as well. So that would put parts of northern Ellis County under the gun as well. Yes, hearing a lot of sirens going off in southern Dallas County. Again, that's going to be for that hail threat. Not always for tornadoes anymore. Those are being used for different purposes. Jennifer, that's what we were just talking about. Northern Ellis County, you'll want to stay alert just in case one or both of these storms move to the south. So we're watching that very closely. Jonathan, there are other factors that are driving these storms. There's a lot of instability, a lot of a lot of humidity in the air. So there's other dynamics that are feeding these storms as they move forward. So they don't necessarily just need heat. We have plentiful instability that is fueling these storms as they go on. So even though it is cooler, even though we are in the upper 70s, these storms are continuing to get pushed forward by all that very unstable air in our area. So the main threat in Dallas County continues to be the hail here, and getting word from Glen Heights that they are going to try to get a better picture here of the south side of that storm. And it's emergency management there in Glen Heights that control this. So I greatly appreciate the partnership that we've been able to build with them. to show this on air. The good news is that rotation in Dallas County seems to be weakening here, losing some of that focus. Now, new severe thunderstorm warning, you just saw it pop up on the camera there. So while they work on that camera, we're going to take a look at this new severe thunderstorm warning. This includes parts of Midlothian, parts of Waxahachie, Red Oak, Ovilla, Oak Leaf. Does include Glen Heights there, Cedar Hill, DeSoto, Lancaster. So this is going to be southern Dallas County, northern Ellis County. Let's take a listen as Weather Call announces this warning.
This is Weather Call. The National Weather Service has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for your immediate area. Severe thunderstorms contain damaging winds, flooding rains, and the potential for...
So there you have it. That is Weather Call. Now here's going to be the one. So that one was from One Voice. This will be the one.
This is Hazard Call. The National
Okay.
Weather Service has issued an extreme severe thunderstorm warning for a storm that contains winds of hurricane force or stronger and or golf ball.
So that is going to be that tag where we have golf ball sized hail. So that's a considerable damage threat with this storm. And what you heard, I'm getting different versions of Weather Call here because I have Weather Call Next Gen, which is going to be my voice calling you, letting you know that, hey, there's been a warning issued. But there's also the Weather Call Enterprise, which is the business side of things to let you and your employees know that you are that your business, your company, is included in those warnings as well. So that's the thing. We got the residential side, we got the business side. We can make sure that you are covered here. So again, parts of Waxahachie included in this warning, as are Midlothian, Red Oak, Oak Leaf, Ovilla, up into Dallas County, Cedar Hill, DeSoto, Lancaster, and Duncanville, all included in this warning for golf ball size hail possible. Let's see if this is going to be.
This is Kevin Crouch. The National Weather Service has issued an extreme severe thunderstorm warning for your immediate location for a storm producing hurricane force winds and or at least golf ball sized hail. Seek immediate shelter in a sturdy building and stay away from windows.
So that's my voice on Weather Call. That's the residential side of things. So I got several of them just because I'm getting warnings from different systems. But Weather Call is very quick, and it took me a while to get all three of those because they were all stacked up. But it calls you very, very fast. So this is the storm moving into, and I've had several folks from northern Ellis County asking. And that's, we have that considerable tag, that considerable damage tag with golf ball size hail possible in this storm. So this is headed towards southeast Tarrant County, southwest Dallas County, northwestern Ellis County, northern and northwestern. So this is the 35E corridor in Ellis County, 287 north of Waxahachie into Midlothian. And then in Dallas County, 67 south of Dallas and 35 south of Dallas, or really south of I-20. So those are the areas that are in the warning there in Dallas and Ellis counties, and then going on from there in Fort Worth, rather from Tarrant County, from Arlington down to Mansfield on Joe Pool Lake along 360. So those are the areas that we are paying the most attention to at this point. We'll take another look at that cyclone port camera there in Glen Heights. Again, looking north there, and very heavy rain with this one, hail, all that good stuff. So plenty of that going on right now in our area. So if you're in Waxahachie, Midlothian, the Red Oak areas, okay, just kind of checking all my screens here, just making sure I'm getting the most updated information. But I want to show you these hail cores. So one of those right near, just south of Dallas, and then one just south of Arlington. And this is the storm. This is the hail core that we're looking at that could affect parts of southwestern Dallas County and northern and northwestern Ellis County. So this is that storm, the Dallas County one going eastward, the storm in Tarrant County right now moving southeast. I'm not seeing anything that has me too terribly concerned right now about rotation. So that's the good news there. But there are going to be some stronger winds associated with these storms as well. Golf ball size hail just ended near the stadium in Arlington. Let's see, Kirsten. Storms are moving fairly slow at this point. I believe this storm is moving at what, 20 to 30, 25 miles per hour. So the storms are not moving terribly quickly, which is why we had those flood concerns in Fort Worth. So this is what we're looking at again. If you're in Johnson County right now, I believe you're done. I don't see anything affecting Johnson County or Hill County at this point. So if you're in Johnson or Hill County, I think you're done for the night. I will be watching these storms that could affect parts of northern Ellis County. And then hard to say about Navarro County at this point. Kind of depends on what that storm track does once it gets through Ellis County. So the Dallas County storm moving eastward at this point. I don't see a right turn in that one quite yet, but it's the Tarrant County storm that is moving more southeasterly and could affect parts of Ellis County. So at this point, not likely to hit Maypearl. Not likely to affect Avalon at this time, or Italy. Could affect the Ferris area. That's going to be one of the areas that is downstream from this warning that could be impacted. Just as a reminder, too, we still do have that tornado watch in place. Haven't seen anything too concerning in that regard, but it is, that watch is in place. So it is worth paying attention to. I don't see any intense rotation at this time. I think there was some rotation we were watching in southwest Dallas County, but it seems like that has kind of been cut off. So I don't think that has really done much. Brian, the storms are kind of there's ebb and flow, because they seem to weaken and then we get a more organized hail core. So it's hard to say whether they're more or less organized. The rotation looks less organized, but they're kind of just cycling at this point. They'll intensify, then they'll weaken. I will say they're not intensifying to the degree they were before. So this environment is not allowing them to intensify the way that they did when they were farther northwest, but they're still able to intensify to some degree. Yeah, so the warnings that are in place right now, let's see, that's the old warning. So this is the new warning in Dallas County, the more recent one at least. Yeah, 2-inch hail, so basically lime-sized hail, and then this warning for golf ball-sized hail that extends into parts of Ellis County. Now this storm in Tarrant County looks like it may be moving to the east again, but again, these have been taking those little right turns. So the storm, the warning that extends into Ellis County, that was in response to that storm taking that right turn, moving southeast. It looks like it may be moving due east again, but that's the thing. These storms have been changing their track all evening long. And so it's just been kind of off and on. So it's these storms have just been back and forth all evening long. Stronger winds in southern Dallas as well. So gustier winds along with that hail core. and in the southern Dallas area. So keep that in mind as well. This Arlington storm looks like that is beginning to move more easterly. So they may remove Ellis County from that warning if that trend continues. That's the thing. It's been hard to know how long it's going to keep one track or another because they have been changing those tracks off and on all evening long. Christine, yeah, I mean these storms are, yeah, playing with your emotions. I completely get it. I mean, after the Arlington storm, I don't see anything for our area. There's some north of there, but I don't see anything for our particular area. Um, okay, so let's see. A note from the Storm Prediction Center here. Long-lived small supercell cluster continues to move across the DFW Metroplex with more recent hail reports in the 1 to 1.75 inch range. These storms remain in a relatively favorable environment close to the axis of the largest ML Cape and weaker convective inhibition. However, storm outflow has tended to spread southeast of the main updrafts, and a gradual decrease in buoyancy and increase in the cap should lead to a weakening trend by roughly 7 or 8 days. In the interim, yeah. So, National Weather Service still expecting kind of a general weakening trend here, which is what we're seeing. But let's go ahead and take that off. So the National Weather Service essentially confirming what we've been seeing. We'll look at a nice view of those storms again in the cyclone port, and seeing some rugged clouds. But the good news is I'm not seeing rotation that would correlate with any of that. So probably just some rugged clouds on the shelf cloud, on the leading edge. But yeah, so they have adjusted. They've canceled Ellis County from that warning, like I was saying a moment ago, because that storm, again, it changed its track. That's the thing. That's what we've been dealing with. All of this is they issued the warning. You see where it was moving southeastward, and then it just, in the last couple of minutes, just changed its track and is now going due east. So Ellis County has now been removed from that warning, and these storms are both moving eastward now. So if they continue that track, then they will go east and avoid the South Metro area, the core 4 counties. Right now, Ellis County is really the only one that could see parts of this storm. Johnson, Hill, and Navarro counties, I think, are done for the night. I wouldn't expect anything else there, but really northern Ellis County, perhaps maybe even just northeast Ellis County, could still see something from this, but I don't expect it to be much. I really think that, it's going to be far northern Ellis County, but these are continuing to move eastward. And then once they are out of Dallas County, they will be out of our area, and that will relieve us from that threat. And I may, continue to analyze radar just to kind of keep an eye on things. But for the most part, we're looking at, again, Johnson, Hill, and Navarro counties probably done for the night. May get some gusty winds from the outflow on all these. But just northern Ellis County now, possibly in the under the gun for some of these storms. I haven't seen any changes in the tornado watch yet. Been on for 3 hours here, and that's the current stream. We had some interruptions there, so we've been kind of off and on. Definitely been in the studio for a long time. So I agree. It seems like it's been a while. So currently, the storm moving out of Tarrant County, moving into Dallas County, kind of have this just little cluster here of these two storms. One of those being the storm that moved through, did a lot of damage in Wise County, did some damage in Parker County, and just some ugly stuff there from that storm. And now just two little storms remain, And the weakening trends seem to be consistent here, at least for the moment, as they move into generally less favorable atmospheric conditions. And we've been talking about the cap. We've been waiting to see when that was going to weaken things. And it looks like maybe it's finally having a consistent effect on these storms, because I'm not seeing, a really successful effort to ramp up. They've ramped up a couple of times, but not near where they were before when they were producing the tornadoes and that kind of thing. No rotation in the Duncanville area. That was earlier, and just not seeing that right now. Tennis ball size hail reported near Cockrell Hill. That's by Dallas County Emergency Management. Yeah, I think Midlothian is done for the night. I would be surprised if anything affected Midlothian. It would have to take a very unnatural turn for that to happen. So yeah, I think in Midlothian, I think you're good to go. So you can see the storms on radar right now, really just affecting Dallas County at this point. One hail core in the Grand Prairie area, one south in South Dallas, and that's gonna be it. We still have those severe thunderstorm warnings in place, but the good news is that we are looking at a pretty decent weakening trend that has generally continued. They've cycled up a couple of times, but really not much other than just a few couple of a few couple, that doesn't make any sense, but a few a few you know cycles up, upward cycles, I guess, of those hail cores, but really nothing beyond that. So yeah, all in Dallas County now. So from Grand Prairie on into Cockrell Hill, over towards Hutchins, eventually Mesquite and Balch Springs, Seagoville, Wilmer, those areas. So the southern half of Dallas County getting all of the storms right now. Junebug Weather Call does not have an all clear, to my knowledge. So the tornado warning, the tornado watch rather, has been updated and no longer includes Johnson County. So Johnson County has been removed from, road gaming. We saw the mesoscale discussion earlier this evening. Shared that already, discussing the watch. But yeah, the tornado watch has been updated. Johnson County has been removed from that. Still Ellis and Navarro counties. I would be really surprised to see anything happen in Navarro County. I think Navarro County can probably be given that all clear at this point. It's just going to be northern Ellis County, I think, that has the greatest risk. I think they're just on the off chance, and I mean, I can't really say too much differently because we've seen the right turns that this stuff can take. But I think at this point, it's primarily going to be just northern Ellis County that could be under the gun for these storms. So the severe thunderstorm warning in Dallas County, there's two of them. One for our long track severe thunderstorm and one for the newer one, both of those moving eastward. So right now, just barely skirting northern Ellis County, and then, just really affecting Dallas County at this point. Yes. So yeah, and that's what we were just saying is Ellis County was removed from that severe thunderstorm warning. Danny the Gamer on YouTube, I'm not sure why Navarro County hasn't been removed from that watch. I'm assuming just on the off chance that one of these takes a deep south turn like it did in Wise County. We have seen that already, so it's not completely out of the realm of possibility, although I'll say, it's fairly unlikely at this point. I can tell you one thing though, I am excited to go to sleep. I am worn out. It has been a long day. I was at Scarborough Renaissance Festival all day. So I was on my feet all day in the heat, and then went right straight to the office to work, and then been in here ever since. So been nonstop since 7 a.m. And I know there's folks that have probably been nonstop longer than that, but they are stronger than I am. Okay, so this new warning here, or this old warning, has been updated. Just ping pong size hail possible with that one. Um, and then still looking at 2-inch hail, lime size hail possible in that second warning in southern Dallas County. So at this point, exclusively just Dallas County at this point involved in those warnings. Some gusty winds and some hail are going to be really the biggest concerns from that. Whoa, lots of questions just came in. Give me 1 second here. Let me catch up. Not expecting anything in Henderson County. Waxahachie is probably done for the night. I'm not expecting much there. Ryan, looks like these storms will continue to weaken, at least for our area. Catching up on comments here. Just had a bunch of them come in. Chandler Wright, I'll tell you, you can view that camera on Radar Omega, so you don't have to wait for me to show it on the stream again. No, I'm not expecting rain behind these storms. We should be done from there. So this is all we have left at this point. These storms, which are, we may see some of this clip far northern Ellis County. It looks like Ferris, you may be getting a little bit of rain from this storm. So northern Ellis County, you may still get some of this storms. Danny the Gamer on YouTube saying you see rotation. Not sure what you're looking at because I don't. I don't see rotation at this point, so not sure what you're referencing there. Combine, at this point, it doesn't look too terrible for that area, but it just kind of depends on if they cycle up again. But I mean, it's getting harder for these storms to cycle up and maintain that intensity. We've seen that trend. And then just overall, I think as we go, they'll just kind of start gradually running out of gas. That's kind of my expectation here. Morgan, we could see more storms tomorrow evening and nighttime. It could be a similar setup. It looks like the greater severe weather risk is going to be farther north, so that may be a factor. We may have to see how things set up later in the morning. But for the moment, it definitely does look like tomorrow has just another chance of storms, but probably a lower chance. It's going to be another situation like today, where it's just an isolated storm or two possible. And this is fairly isolated. I mean, you zoom out and this is kind of just it. Higher chances up north, obviously, but for our area, it's just kind of there. So not really much going on. Now, overnight, we could see more of these storms kind of take a dive into northeast Texas, but I'm skeptical of any of that affecting our area. I think this is probably going to be it for tonight. Arlington is done for the night. Chastity, the tornado watch has been there for a while. That runs until 5 a.m., but I expect that to be ultimately canceled for Ellis County before too long. I'm not seeing any kind of rotation right now, and I'm not seeing any kind of tornado threat at this point. Morgan, yes. Waxahachie looks to be clear. Um, Godley is done. Johnson County's done. I don't see anything affecting Waxahachie. Maybe far northern Waxahachie at some point, but it's becoming less likely because this is all moving due east. Not expecting anything in Maybank or Midlothian or Rice. Looks like this is becoming one storm here, which is interesting. Kind of just coming together there. Looks like there might be Rogue Gaming. We're really looking for something. You want to find something. I mean, there might be a little bit of rain near Midlothian with that outflow boundary, but I'm not seeing much there. Morgan, I got to stay up. We got to keep watching this storm. Ping pong sized hail reported in the Cockrell Hill area about 5 minutes ago. Not sure about Ferris yet. Not sure Ferris is done. So this is what we have left, folks. This area and this little cluster of storms, almost like it's like just becoming one storm here in southern Dallas County. At this point, 2-inch hail still considered a possibility with this warning. We'll see if that's updated. Yeah, I don't expect anything in Ennis. I think Ennis is clear for the night. Not expecting anything in Blooming Grove. I'm really not expecting anything south of Waxahachie at this point. Just by virtue of where this thing is going, this is going to continue to move eastward. We do have a flash flood warning that's just been issued for southern Dallas County. Just because we have so much of this heavy rain, these storms are not moving very quickly, but they're dropping a lot of heavy rain in a short amount of time. Duncanville, yeah, I mean, you're still getting storms in the Duncanville area. So this flash flood warning going to be for southern parts of southern Dallas County, really just about the southern half of Dallas County, for these storms, as very heavy rain from a very slow moving storm continues. And still looking at the hail core there as well. Hail is going to continue to be a threat. Looks like the storms are generally, I mean, they're not. Doesn't look like they're intensifying. I don't know if they're weakening, but it doesn't really look like they're intensifying. A storm may be headed for Van Zandt, but it's hard to say. It's hard to say that far out what you can expect because this storm may intensify before it gets there. Well, yeah, generally, I mean, it does look like it's headed for Kaufman, the Kaufman area. Yeah, I think Plano looks like you're done because this storm in Little Elm looks like it's moving northeast. So I think Plano should be done for the night. We're going to continue to watch this storm in southern Dallas County, though. Looks like parts of northern Ellis County, maybe just northeast Ellis County, may be impacted by that. So we're going to have to keep an eye on it. In fact, looks like some of that hail core may be trying to head towards the Red Oak area. Denise, it depends on where you're talking about. I don't know. I mean, you're asking how long is it going to last. I don't really know how to answer that question unless I know where you're at. So I know folks in Kaufman County are starting to log in. Yeah, I mean, Kaufman County is next in line for this storm. So if you're in Kaufman County, anywhere, I would say south of 80 here, Forney and Terrell, you're probably under the gun for this storm. Well, I mean, this one storm is not going to last long enough, Denise, for yeah. I mean, if you're headed south from Oklahoma, this is going to be out here probably before you arrive. Yeah, I mean, you're going to be hearing the thunder from this storm in Kaufman County. I mean, that's just kind of where it's headed. So, definitely going to be a part of that. Um, so yeah, Kaufman. I mean, you're under the gun for this storm next. It's mostly going to be a large hail threat at this point. I'm not seeing rotation as part of this at this point, but hail is definitely going to be the main concern with this particular storm. But yeah, not a whole lot going on in Ellis County. It looks like Red Oak and Ferris may get parts of this storm headed your direction. We'll take a look at the cyclone port there in Glen Heights. Definitely looks like we're seeing a little bit of maybe a shelf cloud there. It's hard to say. Yeah, that looks like a shelf cloud to me. So a little bit of a shelf cloud headed into Glen Heights. You can see that with the lightning there. Going to be, plenty of heavy rain and that kind of thing too. Not seeing any kind of rotation with that part of the storm. Maybe a little bit, there might be a little bit of a hook here, but I'm not seeing a lot of rotation that correlates with that. Not likely for Pecan Hill. I don't think it goes that far south. Yeah, well, maybe. It may graze you in Pecan Hill, but not really much. Yeah, I'm not expecting much, if anything at all, in Waxahachie. Yeah, Red Oak, you're close to this storm, so you got to know where you're at on the map to really be able to follow this stuff. But yeah, I mean, if you're in the Red Oak area, you're nearby this storm. Yeah, it looks like some of the hail from this storm. Okay, new severe thunderstorm warning here, so they are accounting for maybe a deeper dive southeast for this storm because there's a new severe thunderstorm warning, including northern parts of Waxahachie, Red Oak, Ferris, Palmer. That's going to include Bristol over there, Walnut Springs as well. So once again, weather call calling.
This is weather call, the national.
Yeah. So yeah, that's going to be weather call, and I'm getting a few different calls here because, I have a few of the different services that are coming to me. So uh, we'll see if we can get the one, the next gen call. So you can see again, it's parts of Ellis County, from about North Grove Boulevard north, and going on from there. So, Lonnie, if you received a call at 1:15, I mean, this is, I don't know where you're located, but that might have been for the old warning that was canceled. Okay, so let me catch up on comments here. The bunch just rolled in. Um, yeah, okay. Not expecting anything south of Waxahachie. Not expecting anything in Navarro County. Midlothian, I mean, yeah, you're just barely in that warning. Yeah, so Ferris, you are included in that severe thunderstorm warning. Yeah, so lots of people getting their weather call notifications here. So this is the new severe thunderstorm warning. This is for lime-sized hail, so 2-inch hail still possible. That's twice the severe weather criteria. Severe weather criteria, severe thunderstorm warning criteria rather, for hail is 1 inch in diameter. So we're looking at 2-inch in diameter hail. So this is what everybody got a call for. Everybody relax just a second. We'll get you caught up. The warning that you got, the phone call that you got, is for a severe thunderstorm warning for large hail and strong winds in northern Ellis, southern Dallas, and western Kaufman counties. This is the storm we're looking at, and the large hail threat is essentially the greatest threat here. It's going to be 2-inch hail, basically lime-size hail, and that's kind of what we're looking at. So this warning includes parts of Midlothian, Oakleaf, Ovilla, Red Oak, Ferris, Palmer, Bristol, northern Waxahachie, just north of Venice. So all those areas are included in that warning. Now, whether or not this storm will go that far south is unsure at this point. But if it takes a little bit of a right turn, it will affect more parts of Ellis County. Yeah, so hearing reports of some hail in Red Oak, and definitely hearing the thunder in the Waxahachie area here. So yes, some of the hail reaching the Red Oak area now, which is interesting because it's not, doesn't look as intense with this. Well, there we go. there it's very clear. So yeah, you can see some of that dipping in northern Ellis County now. So, Midlothian, I don't think Midlothian's going to get any part of this. It's really going to be from Oakleaf and Red Oak on to Ferris, possibly as far south as Palmer, but mostly going to be, Trumbull area, Rocket, maybe Bristol, Walnut Springs. So those are going to be the areas that are affected by this. I think Waxahachie is very likely done for the night. I don't think anything is going to reach that far south. And yeah, Glen Heights is definitely getting some of this. Yeah, very heavy rain, strong winds in the Glen Heights area. The good news is I'm not seeing rotation with this storm. So not concerned about like a tornado threat or anything like that. I think Navarro County, I think you're done. I don't see this affecting you at all. This is southern Dallas and northern Ellis counties. Isabel, you're asking how long is this going to last? I can't answer that question without your location. Yeah, so yeah, there's hail falling in Glen Heights. We'll see if we can catch any of that on. I'm sure there's some hail mixed in with the rain there at the Glen Heights Cyclone Port camera. Kind of hard to distinguish though. But yeah, this storm, these two storms kind of combined here, kind of merged here, and this is the combination of the storm that started in Northwest Fort Worth and the one that's been with us since it was in Wichita Falls area. So that storm really, I mean, it's been around all evening and all night so far. In the Red Oak area, yeah, I mean, this storm is going to wrap up fairly soon for you. The Rocket area, I mean, you're going to be right on the edge of this. Um, Northern Ellis County, I don't see this lasting too much longer. It is a slow moving storm, but I think that it'll be moving out fairly soon. Palmer, looks like you may get grazed just barely by this storm, but I don't think it's going to do much more than that. Adrian, the Glen Heights is the farthest one south that we have. I am working on getting more cameras up in this area, so I hope to have one in this closer to this area very soon. I will, of course, keep you all updated on that. But yes, this is the storm that we're looking at right now. This is the new severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued, and this warning goes until 2:45 a.m. So for about a little under an hour now, the storm is not moving terribly quickly. So this storm is going to take its time, but may affect parts of Ellis County. These warnings here, about another 10 minutes left on those. Um, so those will probably be canceled fairly quickly. But yes, it's mostly a hail threat from this storm. Lime size hail, 2-inch in diameter hail possible with this storm. And this storm it's funny, it doesn't look like it turned south. It almost just kind of it's kind of building southward. But either way, northern Ellis County is part of the storm here. Yeah, so Levon, I think it stays north of Waxahachie. Yeah, so I expect this to go north of Rice. Yeah, so gonna be plenty of hail in southern Dallas County right now as the storm passes. Yeah, this storm is going to make some noise, and there is probably some gusty winds moving south out of this too. You can see here, just in the last couple of frames, you notice that notice this big southern progression, and that's probably going to be some gusty winds moving south out of that storm. So I would not be surprised at all to see some gusty winds moving towards moving through Red Oak and Ferris on towards Palmer. Thank you, Kelly, for the cash app. Greatly appreciated. So this storm is probably winds of around 60 plus miles per hour. That would be my guess. Not anything too intense at this point, but there are going to be some gustier winds involved. Let's see. We'll put this back into motion so you can kind of see how this is moving. If you're in Waxahachie right now, I think you're clear. Ennis, we'll have to see how this thing progresses. We see this southerly movement here. I think most of this is going to be outflow winds. It's carrying some of that rain south, but the heaviest of this very likely stays north of Ennis. Jasmine, thank you for the Venmo. Greatly appreciated. Terrell is pretty far out of my area, but I mean, you may get this storm in that area. Odds are, I think it probably goes south of Terrell, but that's a general just a general thought there. Yeah, plenty of reports of hail in Glen Heights, and that's kind of what we've been seeing. We look at the camera here, and yeah, very heavy precipitation there in the Glen Heights area. Okay, yeah. So here's that storm, and it's you definitely see that southerly surge there. I think that's going to be some of those outflow winds that's doing that. So that's going to be some heavier rain. But the hail is definitely focused on southern Dallas County right now. Yeah, I mean Seagoville. I mean Seagoville right now. Yeah, I mean you're probably going to get some of this hail at some point. But the heaviest of that hail is going to be moving towards the right into the Lancaster area. Actually, Lancaster up to Hutchins, eventually possibly towards Ferris and Wilmer. Cedar Hill, you're going to be behind the storm, so you're probably just getting some outflow winds there. 2-inch hail. Lana saying 2-inch hail just passed through DeSoto. So yeah, that's going to be that largest hail that you're seeing there. So that's what the warning has pointed out is the threat of 2-inch hail, roughly lime size hail. I say roughly because limes can be different sizes, but that's generally what we're looking at with this storm. But yeah, there's going to be some gusty winds on the backside of this too. There's going to be some outflow winds that are fairly intense. But yeah, different reports of hail in Glen Heights, Red Oak, DeSoto, eventually headed towards Lancaster, Hutchins, and Ferris as well. So this is the last of a storm that you see north of the Metroplex. There's more rain developing there. That may go into northeast Texas, but I think for our area, I think this is going to be it. Once this storm is finally out of here, I have been watching this storm since it was near Wichita Falls. I mean, this thing has just gone on and on and on. Um, North Waxahachie, I don't think has been affected by this storm. Nothing in that area. Joey, this storm is going to be moving around 20 to 30 miles per hour. Samia, nothing in Maypearl tonight. Yeah, this is going to be a loud storm in Ferris. It's gonna make some noise before it finally rolls out of there. And these two other warnings will expire just in a couple of minutes, leaving just one severe thunderstorm left. And then that will extend over into Kaufman County, at which point I think I may have to go to bed. Yeah, Crystal, it's not moving very quickly. That's the thing is many of these storms have not been moving a whole lot. The farther they get away from the stationary front or the dry line, those kind of things, they kind of lose some of that drive. So there's not a whole lot pushing these storms forward. Not seeing any kind of rotation with this, so not dealing with a tornado threat with these. Really, just going to be the hail threat at this point. Hail threat, wind threat, those kind of things. That's really going to be what we're going to be paying attention to. Again, this is southern Dallas County, eventually southeastern Dallas County, northeastern Ellis County. That's where we have this threat focused at this point. Um, well, Carranza, I have to cut off coverage somewhere. If I don't do that, I'll be up all night. So Kaufman is not really in my coverage area, so that's the thing. Is I'm one guy doing this, so I have to limit my coverage area so that I'm not following every storm in the state, or else I'd never get any rest at all. I have to limit my coverage area so that I'm just in one area. Yeah, it's going to be moving out of Glen Heights, so things are going to be calming down there. Just kind of trying to follow up on some comments here. Grand Prairie, I mean, you're behind it, so there's nothing happening in Grand Prairie right now. Looks like the hail core on this storm is shrinking though, so that's a good sign. This storm does show another kind of weakening trend here. Give me 1 second here. Okay. So Jana, you're saying some baseball size, but mostly golf ball size. Yeah. So there's definitely different size hail mixed in. Eric, not looking at a tornado. Um, not looking at any tornadoes at this point. Not worried about that. Yeah, plenty of lightning in the Ferris area. Um, let's see. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be plenty of lightning there, but the good news is again that this storm does look like it's showing a weakening trend here, just generally, and so that's going to be kind of the trend we'll be paying attention to as we go forward. But um, that's the good news. Is I mean, any weakening trend we see with this storm can be reciprocated by a cycling up, right? We've seen that all night long, where this storm, weakens and then intensifies and weakens and then intensifies. But each time this storm has intensified, it's been sort of less and less. And so at this point, this storm is definitely having trouble reaching its previous intensity. I think that's just because we are in that again, that capped atmosphere, cooler atmosphere, that kind of thing. Stephanie, you're saying you're still getting that hail in Glen Heights. That will be wrapping up very soon in that area, so won't be getting that very much longer. Yeah, so in the Rocket area, you got this severe thunderstorm warning, but I mean, this is not the considerable damage warning that we thought or that we saw earlier tonight. So, like I say, there's kind of a limit to how intense this storm can get after it was much more intense going forward. So, looking at Ferris, Ferris may still get some of this hail core that's going to move through here in the next several minutes, but the good news is that it does look like this storm is on a weakening trend overall. If we go ahead and take a look at the vertically integrated liquid, that's the hail core you can see there between Red Oak and Lancaster, and this is usually going to be a little bit behind. This is about 7 minutes old, so the vertically integrated liquid it takes some time to render. But yeah, I mean that's going to be moving into the Ferris area, but it does look like it's weakening, so it will likely be less intense there in Ferris as it has been in other parts of southern Dallas County. Yeah, I'm looking forward to uninterrupted sleep as well. it has been it has been a long day. And thank you, Jaina, for the Venmo. Greatly appreciated. Ferris Palmer line. Thankfully, it's quiet and no hail. I mean that hail core is headed your direction, so I wouldn't be too confident yet. But the good news is I do think that this is on a weakening trend here. So I think that we're going to see this kind of on a downward trend. Hopefully that continues through Kaufman County at this point. But it's moving slow. It's taking its time. But the concern there becomes flash flooding, which we do still have that flash flood warning in effect for southern Dallas County. May need to consider one of those for northeastern Ellis County. But the good news is that that hail core is getting smaller as it approaches the Ferris area. Still some hail in it, but it is smaller, so it's not going to be quite as intense as it otherwise might be. Quarter-size hail reported in Oak Leaf about 8 minutes ago. Let's see. Small hail hitting the new 7-Eleven on a villa by Cole Road. Yeah, so if you're east, well, if you're west of I-35E, you're done for the night. You're done for the night there. And frankly, if you're south of Waxahachie or Ennis, you're done for the night. I mean, it's really going to be just southeastern Dallas County, northeastern Ellis County is left, and then all other areas should be done for the night with the storms. Now, tomorrow night we may see another round of storms possible, but we're kind of in a situation where that's just going to be the deal for the next couple of days, and then Tuesday, Wednesday we may have another storm system come through. Thursday, Friday, another event to pay attention to. And looks like next weekend actually looks nice. So we may actually get a weekend without storm chances. But we're going to have to wait and see what this does. So gusty winds, some hail still involved with this storm. But the good news is that the intensity does appear to be coming down. Flash flood warnings continue in that storm's wake. So this storm is continues to be severe. That severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect. But as we can tell from this, definitely calmed down in Glen Heights there, looking at the city of Glen Heights cyclone port. You can see the lightning behind it. And thank you, Brittany, for the Venmo. Greatly appreciated there. But yes, so definitely quieted down in Glen Heights, but still plenty of lightning in this storm. It's still going to put on a light show. It's got plenty still to say, going to be plenty of thunder and those kind of things with it. But at least at this point, we are definitely looking at this storm on a downward trend, not being quite as intense as it was. And there they've kind of trimmed back this severe thunderstorm warning. Everything behind the storm is cleared out. So that clears out essentially west of I-35E in Dallas County. West of I-35E and south of 30 is really what was kind of left in that. And then, like I say, if you look at the vertically integrated liquid, this is our hail core in the gray there. And you can see a significant reduction there as it moves towards Ferris. So there is a hail core headed towards the Ferris area, but it is not as intense as it was a while ago. So that's good news. So here's that update, and looks like the greatest threat of hail now is going to be in the Lancaster area, headed on towards Wilmer. So that's going to be right over the Lancaster Airport here, headed towards Wilmer, going to cross 45, and then the heaviest of that may actually stay north of Ferris here. You'll still get some hail there, but I think that's going to be on the way out. But yeah, I mean, this is going to continue on to the east, move on into the Kaufman area, but this storm continues to show that weakening trend. And, happy to see it, because this particular storm has been very intense. Looks like that the hail core itself may be intensifying a little bit, but it's not as broad an impact as it was showing before. It has shrunk some at that point. But yeah, this thing is going to take its time for sure. It's only moving about 25 miles per hour. Moving east at 15. Okay. Moving even slower. So it's slowing down. It's going to take it seems like it's been in this warning in this area forever. But we have a flash flood warning in place for southeast Dallas County, a severe thunderstorm warning for southeast Dallas County, northeast Ellis County, just the severe thunderstorm warning. They may need to add the flash flood warning in northeastern Ellis County just to account for how slow the storm is moving and how much heavy rain it is producing. Hunter, no tornadoes tonight. We're all done with that. So I am going to go ahead and wrap up live coverage. I think this storm is going to continue on with that weakening trend as it moves eastward out of our area. I have got to get some rest. I've got to at least stop talking for a few minutes. And I thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for all of your generosity tonight. I feel like this was really our first major, at least potentially major severe weather situation that we've had this season. More storms are possible this week, so stay tuned to South Metro Weather. We will keep you updated, and I will probably keep an eye on this until it moves out, but at least I need to rest my eyes a little bit, rest my voice a little bit, and stay tuned to South Metro Weather. More updates are to come.
A smile upon your face, and I see something shimmering in your eyes. And they say if you want to glimpse the future, you need space. And you said you'll put down your morning guns. Would you follow me to wander? Take my hand and walk beside me in a world of thunder. Fear is an imposter. When you look at me this way, I find it hard to not give in. night before. You were slowly fading in my mind. When you left, I was so completely gone, but now I'm sure you were some of the best of things to find. Would you follow me to wonders? If you're everything that matters to me, makes me wonder why I can't get over you. When you look at me this way, I find it hard to not give in. I don't know what it means, but there's a smile upon your face, and I see something shimmering in your eyes. And they say if you wanna glimpse the future, you need space. And you said you'll put down your morning guns. Would you follow me to wonders? Take my hand and walk beside me in a world of thunder. Fear is an imposter. When you look at me this way, I find it hard to not give in. So the days became weeks, it felt just like the night before. You were slowly fading in my mind. When you left, I was so completely gone, but now I'm sure